broadcast in high definition presented by Pioneer Plasma. They opened the parking lots at Papa John's Cardinal Stadium 13 hours ago, and the Louisville hopeful hoping for a BCS Bowl appearance. It begins next. In wintertime, it's half for Patino, half for Tubby. The state split on the hardwood, but tonight, Kentucky divided by college football. Kentucky and Louisville, a grudge match for the Governor's Cup. It's kickoff weekend, hitting Louisville now. ESPN College Football Primetime welcomes you to a state divided, a sellout crowd ready for football here at Papa John's Cardinal Stadium. It is number 13 Louisville, beginning what they hope is a championship quest, taking on their arch rivals from just up the road, the Kentucky Wildcats. Hi everyone, I'm Bob Wischusen. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. And this season begins anew here in Louisville, not just with Big East Conference Championship hopes, not just with BCS hopes, but with national championship hopes. They have a 1-2 punch unlike most other teams in the nation, with Michael Bush and getting Brian Brom back at quarterback. Yes, the Big East Offensive Player of the Year, who tore his ACL last season on Thanksgiving weekend against Syracuse, returns tonight after only 10 months out of action. And for more on his injury and what it could mean to Louisville's season, down to the field and Rod Gilmore.
And Bob, that's the most celebrated knee injury in college football. And that's because Brian Brom is one of the top quarterbacks, and Louisville has a shot at the national championship, but only if Brian Brom is healthy. Now, he's made a remarkably fast recovery to that knee injury. It only happened about 9 months ago, but he hasn't had any contact since then. So no one really knows just how well that knee will hold up. So you have to wonder what will happen after contact. How will he respond to that? You also have to wonder what's his true mobility like. I can guarantee you that Kentucky intends to test him tonight to find out. Now, for more on Brian Brom, let's check in with Tina Dixon. Tina?
Thanks, Rod. And it was a little less than a week ago that Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Carson Palmer played in his first game since having major reconstructive knee surgery. Now, I asked Brian earlier if he watched that game and what he thought, and he said, wow, what a performance by Carson. Continued to name his stats, including the 3 touchdown passes. Now, keep in mind, Brian's had 2 more months to recover. But Brian said, watching that game, watching Carson play has definitely helped my confidence, knowing I can come back from this injury.
Well, Tina, this is a high-powered Louisville attack, no question about it. And with Brian Brom back at the controls, as we're joined now by Trevor Maddich. Trevor, give me a Kentucky scouting report. What did they do to slow him down?
Hide his helmet. If the best defense is a good offense, Kentucky does have a shot. Raphael Little is one of the best dual-threat running backs in the SEC last year. Finished 5th in the nation in all-purpose yards. Keenan Burton might be the most electrifying wide receiver on either team tonight. The question will be, can quarterback Andre Woodson distribute the ball to his playmakers efficiently enough to keep that Louisville scoring machine on the sidelines?
Well, it is pandemonium here in Louisville for one of the great rivalries in all of college sports, basketball or football. And the Cardinal fans hoping they will soar to a BCS berth this season. It starts next.
Hey, McMillan, you gelling?
It is a perfect night for football here in Louisville. Temperatures around 60 degrees. Not many clouds in the sky at Papa John's Cardinal Stadium. We welcome you. 71 degrees will be the temperature at kickoff. A slight breeze in the forecast for clear skies. And you can see the line in the stands. Blue to the left, and a lot of red to the right as Rich Brooks in his 4th season as the head coach at Kentucky is trying to resurrect the program, and there are some questions as to how well he has progressed in that effort, something we will definitely talk about. For Bobby Petrino, though, there are not many questions about the success he has had so far at Louisville. One of the most innovative offensive minds in college football. He just signed a 10-year contract extension to stay at the helm of the Cardinals. And Rod Gilmore and Trevor Matich, as we get set for tonight's game, this could be a chess match between these two coaches, but there are a lot of weapons, Rod, on Louisville's offensive side.
Oh, no doubt about it. I mean, you talk about the quarterback, Brian Brohm, you talk about Michael Bush. We haven't even begun to look at the wide receivers. They're loaded out there as well. So we'll see the ball in the air tonight, no question.
You talk about a chess match. Kentucky is missing their queen and one of their rooks. It's not a fair match. But with that chess match, they still have a chance here, and it'll all be about strategy and proper application of the pieces that are available.
Well, I'm not sure from a strategic standpoint, gentlemen, what you do to make up for some of the statistical disparities between these two teams. Last season, Kentucky did not put too many of the top statistics that you would like in the top 100 in the country. Points, yards, rushing yards. But look at the offensive numbers for Louisville. The defense to offensive comparison, that's certainly a check mark in the favor of the Cardinals.
Oh, no doubt. It certainly makes you wonder, if you're Kentucky, what you have to do. But you have to play better defense, and that's going to start with how they go after Brian Brohm.
And Brian Brohm will start with the football tonight. Rod Council and Sergio Spencer back deep to receive the kick of Tim Mastay. And we are underway. And wisely taking a knee is Rod Council, and that will take Louisville out to the 20-yard line to start off. And Brian Brohm with his first regular season snaps this year. Again, a torn ACL that cost him the final 2 games of last season, including the bowl game loss to Virginia Tech. He started 10 games last year. He was 8-2 in those 10 games, 2nd overall in the NCAA in completion percentage. And if that number holds up, he would have the highest completion percentage in the history of Louisville. And there have been a couple of decent names that have played quarterback at this institution. Johnny Unitas comes to mind. On first down to the ground, though, and it is a reverse. Coming to the near side is Harry Douglas, and he has room to roam. Gets out to midfield, cuts it back. And a big gainer for the Cardinals on the ground as they pick up 27 yards.
Well, Trevor, the first question about mobility for Brian Brohm came up on that play, and it didn't look too bad. Watch him come out to his left and get out there and make a block. This is a quarterback returning from an ACL injury. Look at him. He goes right after him.
And you know what? Head coach Bobby Petrino must have been panicking. He sees him running, that's okay. But here comes a Kentucky defender, and he's not slowing down.
We'll get lineups in a moment as Louisville on a march to start. And Brohm with his first completion of the season to Scott Kuhn as tight end. And now let's check the backs and receivers, the weapons that surround Brohm. And it is a deep group. And not just the group that you will see on the screen. There will be many names we will bring up tonight, but certainly Michael Bush is in the Heisman Trophy conversation to start off the season as well. It's an offensive line that features 3 new starters, including George Bussey, Danny Barlow, and Renardo Foster. 2nd down and 3 after a gain of 7 on first down for the Cardinals. Bush has a first down and plenty more into the open. Bush to the 20. It's a foot race. Touchdown! What a start for the Cardinals! Art Carmody on to attempt the extra point. A little over 90 seconds gone by in the first quarter, and already the 13th ranked Cardinals with a 7-0 lead.
That Kentucky defense gave up 196 yards rushing per game last season. And the Louisville offensive line took advantage of it on that touchdown play. Good blocking at the point of attack, a hat on a hat. Bush is not touched for the first 6 yards of that run.
Well, how do you protect a quarterback with a bad knee?
I don't know, give the ball to Michael Bush?
You give the ball to Michael Bush. Because that time, Mike Archer, defensive coordinator for Rich Brooks' Kentucky Wildcats, called a quarter blitz. Carl Booker, number 10, blitz expecting a pass. Take a look at what happens here. He's going to come in, and he's going to want to hit Brian Brom. But Brian Brom hands off, and that means there's one less defender in the secondary to be able to handle a breakout run.
Well, a nightmarish start for Kentucky's defense as well. We saw some of the statistics, and they came to bear almost immediately. An 80-yard touchdown drive in 3 plays. So now the pressure will float to Andre Woodson, the senior quarterback that is now going to have to try and answer. And now Kentucky with an opportunity with the football. Keenan Burton takes it from the 1. And does not find much room. Barely out to the 18-yard line, brought down by Nate Harris. So Andre Woodson from Henderson, Kentucky, who started every game last season. The team went 3-8. And he struggled at times, although, according to Rich Brooks, a completely new level of dedication for Woodson during the offseason in terms of workouts, in terms of film study, and he feels very prepared to be the starter this year, although we do expect that Curtis Pulley will see some time, at least in some capacity. Maybe not even at quarterback, but the backup quarterback, who could potentially be a slash-type player, will play. Down the sideline, Burton hauls it in. And it is incomplete, did not control it, and fell out of bounds. The starting offense, backs and receivers around Andre Woodson, and certainly Keenan Burton will be his #1 target through the air, although Raphael Little will have to carry a major load tonight if Kentucky is to survive. Fatu Turi back as a starter at left guard, and he is looked upon as the best all-around offensive lineman for the Wildcats. 2nd down and 10. Jacob Tammy, the tight end, in motion. He is dangerous. Woodson under pressure. He will go down. All the way back at the 11-yard line. Gang tackle. Amobi Okoye got there first.
Woodson is primarily a drop-back quarterback, and that defensive line really got after him.
Well, speaking of that defensive line, now without the Big East Defensive Player of the Year and Elvis Dumerville, they will count on Okoye on the inside and Anderson and Heyman on the outside. Nate Harris and Abe Brown anchor that group of linebackers, along with Malik Jackson and William Gay and Rod Council at the cornerback spots. They will be pressured this year as well. 3rd down and 16. Speaking of pressure, and they just get the play off. A screen, batted in the air and almost intercepted. It will be 4th down, and from their own goal line, a punt formation will ensue. Zach Anderson tipped it at the line.
This is a bad start for Kentucky. They're getting pushed back, and they have to be concerned about a potentially blocked punt here. They've given up a touchdown. They got nothing on offense. The worst thing possible now would be for a special teams letdown.
That would be all 3 phases failing in the opening opportunity.
So Tim Mastay is set to punt. He also handles the kickoff duties. And Patrick Carter, the younger brother of Tim Carter, wide receiver for the New York Giants, is deep to receive. And he's not that deep. He's at midfield. So one of the most potent offenses of the league should be getting good field position, and that field position's about to get even better. Delay of game called against Kentucky.
Prior to the snap,
Kentucky's
delay
mental state is being tested here.
That's
and
a 5-yard penalty.
In Louisville, they really believe
down.
in coming out the chute, attacking you. He likes to script his first 10 or 12 plays and really go out and jump on a team. And right now, Kentucky on the road, they have to find a way to withstand this initial onslaught.
And it has been an onslaught through the first 2.5 minutes. Kentucky just trying to sacrifice average field position, but Carter is a dangerous return man. A wobbly kick. Carter will let it bounce, and it takes a Louisville bounce and is touched up at the 44-yard line of Kentucky. So Louisville will start in plus territory on offense. A 37-yard punt, no return, 7-0 Cardinals. And they will look to add to it with Brian Brohm at the helm in a moment.
At your Chrysler dealer, it's all about the best.
12-12 remaining in the first quarter. College football primetime on ESPN. As the lights turn on here at Louisville, we get our first look at an offense that is one of the most high-powered in the country, and they start off with a 3-play, 80-yard scoring drive that took just over 90 seconds. They lead 7-0, and they have it back again at the 44-yard line of the Wildcats. In motion out of the backfield, George Stripling, 5 wide, and Brohm dumps it off, incomplete. Pressure by Myron Pryor, who is going to have to be an anchor up front for the defensive line of Kentucky. Helped out inside by Lamar Mills, a senior alongside. Braxton Kelly and Wesley Woodyard are 2 excellent linebackers. Woodyard was honorable mention all SEC last year, but inexperience at the corners with Booker and Lindley. Between the two, only 1 career start. Michael Bush now back in as the lone setback. And now some miscommunication in the line. As Brohm took a knee, will they let the play stand? And will it be 3rd down and 10, or will they call a false start and turn it into 2nd down and 15?
Well, they're marking 3rd down. I think Brohm thought he was going to catch them off sides, and he went down to the knee.
There was no foul on the play. It's 3rd down.
3rd down and 11.
Now, Trevor, we've seen quick passes by Louisville trying to protect Brohm. 3-step, and on that last pass play, he actually got hit on a 3-step.
Well, they went to an empty backfield, nobody there, and the receiver was covered, so Brohm held the ball. Again, Bobby Petrino, head coach, must have been panicking to see that happen.
3rd down and 11 as Brohm sets up in the gun. At the top of your screen, all the way at the top, as a wideout is Michael Bush. And they throw it to him. He makes the catch at the 40-yard line, and it is ruled to be incomplete. So Kentucky a little life as they force Louisville 3 downs and out.
Well, how about defensive coordinator Mike Archer? After that first series, he said, okay, the heck with it, we're going after Brohm. They brought pressure every single time and got a couple of hits on him.
Raphael Little back to receive the punt. He calls for a fair catch and fields in traffic at the 12-yard line. So now Kentucky surviving that last moment, and that might be a key set of downs for Kentucky if they are able to stay in tonight's game. As we remind you that ESPN Full Circle brings you Florida State and Miami, presented by Dish Network. Tomorrow night at 8 Eastern on ESPN, it's the game, as you know, and you can see the game as we see it in the truck, all the angles at once. ESPNU, ESPN 360 with Skycam, plus commentary from Colin Cowherd. You will see Florida State and Miami from every conceivable angle as Woodson goes to the ground to Little, and he goes up the middle for a couple. And while we're on that topic, Florida State and Miami, gentlemen, tomorrow night?
You know, I like Miami, primarily because it's a home field advantage for them. Both have young quarterbacks, both have fast defenses, but I think the offensive lines are going to make the difference, and I think Miami will be just a little bit ahead.
I like Florida State. I love that defense. I think Florida State has an edge there.
2nd down and a long 7. And Woodson changing the play. Again, the play clock down the inside of 7 seconds. It's Little, and he has running room. Gets to the sideline, has a 1st down, and is pushed out by Brandon Sharp.
A big difference between Kentucky's offense from last year to this is the experience of the offensive line. Last year they played a lot of very young guys who just got smoked. This year they have guys that are still young, but at least they have some experience, and so that must have been a huge confidence builder.
Yeah, but they are missing Aaron Miller, who was supposed to be their best offensive lineman, but he was declared academically ineligible.
A gain of 14 yards for Little, and he is in the game along with Tony Dixon, 2 of the tailbacks, part of this spread offense. They go with an empty backfield, and Woodson tries to make a play with his legs and gets pounded at the 31-yard line. Abe Brown came up and finished off Woodson with Adrian Grady around his ankles, and Burton lost his helmet.
Trevor, we talked about the quarterback, Woodson, being a drop-back guy. He doesn't really move his feet that well. This defense is going to force him to move his feet.
And I think this quarterback draw with an empty backfield was designed to slow the pass rush down a little bit. Didn't work. Took a shot anyway.
2nd down and 8 as Woodson did pick up a pair of yards.
Didn't he get sacked a lot last season in this game?
6 times alone by Elvis Dumerville. Little on a trap play. Spins out of a tackle. It turns nothing into something. Out to the 35 and a manageable 3rd and 4. But let's go back to that last play for a moment.
Well, anytime you talk about a rivalry ball game, you have some intensity. And there's Burton getting in there, taking a shot at William Gay, and Gay gets the helmet. But you know something? You still talk your trash.
How is that not face mask? How do you put your hand in his face mask, take off his hat, and hand it back to him and not get a flag?
Talk about handing somebody his hat.
It's Kentucky, Louisville. I don't know if we bother with things as insignificant as face masking. Curtis Pulley now in the game at quarterback, and a by design quarterback draw gets shut down after a gain of only a yard. So it will be 4th down. We were told that we would see Curtis Pulley at times tonight, as Rich Brooks loves what he brings to the table. This was a quarterback controversy up until about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, this guy is a lot more athletic, a faster runner than Woodson. You're going to see him in the ball game. You just saw him there. I'm certain that they've got other plays for him.
Well, and they're going to need to. If this pass rush is so aggressive, they'll need the scrambling quarterback.
Mastay is set to punt. And again, it's Carter back deep to receive with 8 minutes remaining here in the 1st quarter. And Louisville almost got there. Mastay, good hang time on this kick, forces Carter into a fair catch, which he turns into an adventure at the 32-yard line. When we return, we'll take a closer look at Brian Brohm, Michael Bush, the 1-2 punch that keys one of the best offenses in the nation.
At your Chrysler dealer, it's all about the best.
Brought to you by Allstate. Are you in good hands?
Well, just up the road from Papa John's Cardinal Stadium, where there is a capacity crowd on hand, is the campus for Louisville, and they have made the trek down to see the Cardinals take a 7-0 lead over Kentucky. And now Brian Brohm has the football back with just under 8 minutes to go. And it's a fake reverse this time, as Bush is strung out by the Kentucky defense. Coming up to make the stop, Roger Williams, after a gain of a yard.
Well, Rod, you talked about the state of mind of Kentucky. It's a very young team. The thing they've got to avoid is, here we go again-itis. They need plays like that so their confidence doesn't get completely shot.
Yeah, and the other thing is they have to stay aggressive, keep going after Brohm as they did that last series.
On 2nd down and 9, Bush goes in motion. It's an inside handoff to the up-back Brock Bolin, and he spins out across the 35 to the 37. So off to a good start is Brian Brohm. With more on his rehab, though, is Tina Dixon.
Thanks, guys. And I had a lengthy discussion with the Cardinals trainer, Dwayne Trilla, about Brian Brohm's rehab. And he said the roughest were the first 2 months. Brian had very little mobility. And he said one of the worst parts, though, was the Gator Bowl, watching Brian watch someone else do his job. But after that, it was time to focus rehab 4 to 5 hours a day, 7 days a week. Brian said the worst part was the trainer breaking up the tissue on his knee, have to bite on a napkin for the pain. Now, they set a goal to throw by February 1st. They met that, and the trainer said mentally for Brian, that did wonders. And I think right now, mentally, Brian is doing all right.
On 3rd down, comes to the near side and finds Harry Douglas, and he continues to do all right. That's a Louisville 1st down.
Well, you talk about Brian Brohm going through that rehab. I think just about everyone who knows him expected him to handle it well. He's always been a mentally tough guy. I mean, he grew up in a family with quarterbacks, and his dad is a quarterback coach. He's used to really committing to something and also going through some pain. You know, he's had that before. Not an injury like that, but mentally he's certainly been tested by his brothers and his dad.
Well, there is a long lineage of the Brohm family at Louisville, and it's a constant debate as to which one was the best quarterback. Tried to bait Brian into saying that he was the best quarterback during our conference call with him this week. He would not bite as Michael Bush picks up 2 yards. Wesley Woodyard came up and made the stop.
Oh, one of the things that Brian told us previously is that after every game, he has dinner with his brothers and his father, and it is a rip session critique of his performance. And he's gone through that for about 10 years, so you know he's a tough guy.
Well, his brother Greg saw him run after the ACL surgery. It was a cadaver's tendon that was implanted. He said, you know, that cadaver must have been faster than you because you look pretty quick.
Second down and 8. We'll check that. We'll call it second down and a long 7 with 5:40 to go in the first quarter. Again, it's Bush with blockers out in front. And he powers his way for a first down. Into Kentucky territory to the blue 44-yard line. Woodyard again with the tackle.
Trevor, what do you think about the way Bobby Petrino is protecting Brom right now?
I think he's doing a great job of calling plays to take advantage of what Kentucky's doing. They're blitzing, and the defensive line of Kentucky is not playing the run right now. They're trying to shoot the gaps to pressure Brom, and these handoffs are allowing them to take advantage of that.
George Stripling back in the game. He is to Brom's left in the shotgun. 1st and 10 at the Kentucky 44. Brom has some time. One-on-one down the lane, and it's Carter at the 20-yard line. Shamari Moore was there in coverage, but the jump ball won by Patrick Carter, the transfer from Georgia Tech.
Patrick Carter was recruited as a quarterback to Georgia Tech. They moved him to wide receiver, and this is a catch that you expect from Georgia Tech type receivers. He's well covered, but he stops and he goes up and pulls the ball down. We saw Calvin Johnson do this against Notre Dame yesterday, all first half.
A gain of 25 yards, and the Cardinals back in the red zone. Brom on a slant to Douglas makes the catch. A gain of 9 to the 10-yard line. It will be second down and 1.
That time, Brian Brom was throwing to a spot. He knew exactly where his receiver would be cutting inside, and he let that ball go very early and waited for his receiver to get there. This ball is flying right now, and here comes Douglas. He's just throwing into a window where he expects Douglas to be.
Not much experience, as we said, at the cornerback spots for Kentucky, and already Brom picking on Moore, Lindley, and Booker. Bush spins at the 5, keeps his legs turning. It's 1st and goal at the 4 for Louisville. Trevard Lindley saved a touchdown.
There you see a good running back will always spin on first contact, and a spinning running back can break an arm tackle, and that's exactly what happens. Watch Woodard here. Arm tackle, hit and spin by Bush, leaves Woodard with nothing but air.
And Woodyard, their best defensive player, getting beat like that.
1st and goal at the 4. This is the 9th play of this drive. Bush, touchdown! Already in the first quarter, Michael Bush with 2 touchdown runs. He set a Louisville record last year with 23 on the ground, and did that in only 10 games. He was injured and missed 2 games, and he actually told us this week he believes 30 touchdowns for him this year, if he stays healthy, is a realistic number. Art Carmody on to attempt the extra point. It has been all Louisville so far. Bush with 2 rushing touchdowns to start tonight's game. He had 24 overall last season. 23 came on the ground. What a start for the Cardinals.
Coming to DVD, Lost, the complete second season, the extended experience.
Center 30 at 30 update is Reese Davis.
All right, guys, Steelers going to have to make an unexpected change at quarterback. Ben Roethlisberger had an emergency appendectomy, will not be able to play against the Dolphins in the opener Thursday night. Charlie Batch will start for Pittsburgh. And Andre Agassi, his career is over. He loses to Benjamin Becker in 4 sets in his final U.S. Open appearance. Sports Center coming up later on tonight after the game. ESPN News is constantly on. Keep your phone charged to get mobile ESPN alerts.
Well, Reese, an alert right now to the Kentucky offense. They need to control the football, if nothing else, as it has been all Louisville here in the first half. Little trying to break tackles and lost a couple of yards. Zach Anderson came up and made the tackle.
Anderson made the tackle, but William Gay, the corner on the bottom of the left, made the play. And he came flying in on corner blitz and turned the play inside.
Louisville is attacking the line of scrimmage, as we saw with that blitz. And what they're saying is, Little is a great runner. We're going to force Woodson to throw the ball, and we're going to pressure him. And in doing so, they fill all the running lanes, and they can't rush.
How about an 85-yard difference already on the ground? shotgun set as Woodson swings it out. Flag down, ended incompletion. Tony Dixon, the intended receiver, and he squares off with Nate Harris. They have some things to say. We'll have to check the penalty. It could go from bad to worse for the Wildcats, and it will.
Well, what the Wildcats need to do is get the ball to Keenan Burton. They're a great wide receiver. He has got to get open against man coverage, because right now Louisville is attacking the line of scrimmage, filling the rush lanes, and getting to the quarterback quickly. That means Burton especially has got to shake loose of man coverage quickly.
Offense number 78. That penalty is declined. Second down.
Woodson doesn't have any time to get the ball to Burton right now. You know, last year Kentucky ran an awful lot of screen passes that slowed down the Louisville rush, and that allowed them to get back into the ball game.
Elvis Dumerville last season had 20 sacks, led the nation, and you wondered how Louisville was going to replace that pass rushing ability up front. Well, Bobby Petrino told us they're going to have to scheme a pass rush, and they've schemed it very effectively so far here in the first quarter. Second down, or rather third down and long. Woodson buying time. Another flag goes down. Finally he unloads, and it's knocked away. Gavin Smart tipped the football, and Louisville's about to get it back. Once again, it will be holding against Kentucky, which obviously the Cardinals will turn down and take the punt.
Holding. Offense number 57. That penalty is declined. It's fourth down.
Rich Brooks looks a little shell-shocked. He's going to be looking for some answers with his coaching staff, as now Louisville's about to get the football back again.
Well, they need to stop, and they have to remain patient. I mean, he really believes that he's got a better football team this season.
Carter once again is set to receive the punt of Mastay. Long count, and this time Mastay gets off a pretty good kick. Carter fields it on the run at the 35, turns the corner, and gets out to the 45. As once again, Reese Davis is standing by in our Sports Center studios. Reese?
All right, guys, TCU number 22 on the road at Baylor, the nation's second longest winning streak at 10 in a row. Marcus Jackson finding Aaron Brown, who's the Mountain West Freshman of the Year last year. 84 yards to put them ahead. TCU's just punched in another. They're up 17-7 on Baylor.
How about the Horned Frogs? Horned Frogs jumping out, looking good.
When you look at potential BCS busters, I think they've got the best shot. They've got a nasty, nasty defense.
Wasn't TCU the team that when we talked to Pat Hill doing the Fresno State game a couple of nights ago, he couldn't believe they were only ranked 22nd in the country? As Brom goes to the air once again, this time finds his tight end Gary Barnidge close to a first down.
You know, it's rather amazing when you look out there and you see Brian Brom and Michael Bush actually playing together and playing so well. They competed against each other in high school for so long. I don't think they really liked each other when they were in high school. It wasn't until they became teammates and started figuring out, hey, other guy's not so bad.
They played arguably the greatest high school football game in the history of the state against each other when they were in high school. And now Bush off to the races again. He is a load at 250 pounds, and he picks up 10 yards to the 36.
You know what's amazing is where they're attacking. They're sending Bush straight up the middle into the teeth of this defense, and the defensive tackles inside, Myron Pryor, Lamar Mills, are the heart of this defense, and that's where they're attacking.
Well, and Rich Brooks really believed that his two tackles would be a major improvement over last season with experience and help, because Mills was hurt most of last season.
Colby Smith now in the game for Michael Bush, and Smith gets the call. And he makes a nice 1-2 punch for Louisville. But once again, looking back at the high school matchup between Bush and Brom, it was the Kentucky State Championship for Class A in 2002, male high school against Trinity. And Bush threw 6 touchdown passes as a quarterback and ran for another. 7 touchdown passes for Brom, and he would run for one as well, as Trinity beat Male 59-56. Only a portent of what was to come from this duo once they both came to Louisville. Brom looking downfield, has a man at the 5-yard line, fighting for the goal line is Arudia. And he is stopped just shy of the goal line by Roger Williams. The first time we have heard tonight from Mario Arudia, and it's 1st and goal for Louisville.
Well, Brom did not get everything on this ball, but he stood in there and took the hit. Watch him get this ball out there. He's standing in there tall and tough. Arudia makes the catch, has to wait for a little bit, but Brom had to stand tall. Watch the pressure come in, Trevor. He's going to take a hit here. Tough guy stands in there and delivers it.
Well, you talk about the mental side of taking that first hit. He's taken several now, and when you look at his eyes, he looks so calm.
That takes us to the end of the first quarter. And the blue and white sideline needs an answer. The red and black in control.
An all-new Contender. Tuesday, 10 p.m. Eastern on ESPN.
Set for the start of the second quarter here in Louisville, and it has been all Cardinals. 14-0. They lead, and they have it 1st and goal at the Kentucky 1-yard line to start the second quarter. Michael Bush already with 2 touchdowns in the first quarter, and he dots the I. He may be in store for touchdown run number 3 here in the first half. Bush at the goal line. And he's stopped at the half-yard line, maybe the 1-foot line for 2nd down and goal.
A nice play by Woodyard. You know, when you're going to tackle a 250-pound back, actually the first time, you probably don't think about it. You just go do it. It gets a little tougher after that. After that first time you hit him, you go, oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, you think about it when he hit you. You don't think about hitting a freight train head on either, but the second time you think about it.
Yeah, it's easy to have courage that first time.
That's the 4th time Woodyard has made a tackle here in the first half. 2nd down and goal. The 21st play that Louisville is about to run. They've gained 203 yards. They've run more plays than Kentucky has gained yards. Play action. Brom to the air. Caught. Touchdown. Brock Bolin, the fullback, floated to the near side and was wide open. And Brom's first touchdown pass of the season puts the Cards up by 3 scores. Art Carmody set an NCAA record in 2004, 77 for 77 in extra points. And he's already 3 for 3 here tonight. And if Louisville keeps on scoring touchdowns at this rate, gentlemen, he might get 77 more opportunities because their offense has simply been that good.
Yeah, I mean, what more could you ask for from the Louisville offense? If that's what you need, you're getting it. You've got your quarterback hitting on all cylinders. You've got your running back Bush running like crazy, and the offensive line is doing well. What more could you ask for?
Well, Kentucky's only chance on defense was to disrupt the timing, but Louisville right now is the one that's dictating and making sure that the defense is off balance. When they expect pass, it's a run. When they expect run, Brom picks them apart from the pocket.
Well, Brom is so in control of all of these weapons. And Trevor, something that I got when both of you were watching film, Rod as well, that you both seem to believe that this offense with Brian Brom at the helm, it's just a very well-conceived offense, simply beyond the weapons that they have. If you look at how Bobby Petrino coaches, just from an X's and O's standpoint, Rod, you seemed especially impressed with how they do business.
Well, there's no question about Bobby Petrino. He's a great coach. That's why the NFL keeps chasing him. It's why other schools chase him. He knows how to protect the quarterback. He knows how to manipulate the defenses. He throws into windows. He's not afraid to throw over the middle. He uses his quarterback like that. He trusts him. He puts the ball down low. The receivers don't get hurt. He's got a nice scheme.
So Brom's first touchdown pass. And Burton from a yard deep will bring it out. And again, cannot get to the 20-yard line. Well, let's take a look at our games to you by Hampton Inn. 21-0 Louisville. Brom, his first start and first game since last Thanksgiving when he tore his ACL against Syracuse. And early on, he didn't have to do much other than give it to Michael Bush. 8 carries for 80 yards and 2 touchdowns already here in the first half. And then Brom, after giving it to Bush for a second score, with an easy little pass to his fullback, Brock Boland, for his first touchdown pass of the season. And now Andre Woodson in a cacophony here at Papa John's Cardinal Stadium. To the sideline. Incomplete. Intended for Burton.
I tell you, Mike Cassidy, the defensive coordinator, is bringing the pressure from every angle. This time they run a twist inside and then pressure backside. You see 96 Anderson coming from the backside, and then also number 11 Malik Jackson from the front side.
This is Kentucky's fourth offensive possession. They have gone backwards on 2 out of their first 3. And those 3 fumbles last year certainly cost Kentucky the game, as Woodson was looking for redemption tonight, and he will once again have to bring them from way back as Tony Dixon picks up a pair of yards. It'll be 3rd and long.
But we see an adjustment now. Kentucky, in last year's game, went to the no huddle in the second half, had some success. They have now adjusted to that no huddle here in the second quarter.
3rd down and a long 8. Rich Brooks shaking his head throughout the first 15-plus minutes. Total yards, what a disparity. Play clock to 5. Woodson has time. Sliding attempt made by Burton, but he will come up short. And once again, the Wildcats go 3 and out.
But one thing we're seeing here is that on both sides of the ball, Louisville is playing much, much faster than Kentucky.
I think Kentucky may have to change their approach. Maybe go 2 tight ends, do something so they can start pounding the ball and handle the blitz. Right now, they can't drop back and throw it because they can't pick up the blitz.
Well, again, Tim Mastay has been very busy so far here in the first half. He averaged 36.5 yards last year as a true freshman, and Patrick Carter is back deep to receive. And this might be Mastay's best yet. Carter will field and immediately start to try and dodge tacklers. Can't do it. Marcus McClinton brings him down immediately. 21-0. Louisville on top, and it's Brian Brohm back to the offense when we return on College Football. Andre Woodson on the Kentucky sideline. A chat with Randy Sanders, the quarterback's coach for the Cats, as right now Brian Brohm has hit 6 for his last 6. Woodson so far for Rich Brooks tonight 0 for 6 for the game. The Cats have yet to complete 1 pass on offense. As Brohm, 84 yards and a touchdown pass during that last 6 for 6 stretch. Back to the air, hit as he throws to the near side, and Douglas has it knocked away by Trevard Lindley. But backside pressure came, and Brohm hit for the first time seriously tonight.
Well, the discouraging thing for Louisville is that this is a quick step throw. 3-step, get rid of it, but your quarterback still gets hit. That should not happen on a quick pass like that.
But if you're Kentucky, I like this because your corners are not going to cover these receivers if Brohm has time. Even if he's going to complete passes and score points, ring his bell, son.
Are you advocating violence on the quarterback?
Much violence.
Shotgun on 2nd down and 10. Wide open over the middle is Douglas, and he's loose to the 30. Hit from behind, holds onto the football, and gets down to the 21-yard line. Trevard Lindley made the stop, but a big first down for Louisville.
Talk about accuracy. Watch Douglas inside. Watch where this ball hits him. Perfect. He doesn't have to break stride. He's able to gain a lot of yardage after that. That's a well-thrown ball.
And Rob, what impresses me about that well-thrown ball is that Brohm just got hit in the back and in the sternum the play before. And the next play here, he stands in and delivers that well-thrown ball.
And far be it for me to question strategy, guys, but that was Dominic Lewis, number 20, a defensive end underneath trying to cover Harry Douglas, as up the middle goes George Stripling for about 6 yards. But it's hard for me to believe that there is some type of defensive scheme for Kentucky that would have a defensive end trying to stay anywhere near a wide receiver.
Well, it was a zone blitz, and he dropped back into coverage, and you just keep going. So he wasn't trying to be a man-for-man guy there. The thing you have to remember about Louisville, they love to work the middle of the field, and they have receivers who are tough enough to go across the middle, even though they're small, some of them, like Douglas.
2nd down and 4. Once again to the ground, it's Stripling, and he breaks a tackle. first and goal for the Cardinals at the 5.
Well, Rod, you talked about the scheme of Bobby Petrino and the offensive design. And Bob, you talked about number 20, Dominic Lewis, being underneath. When Brian Brohm this spring, they didn't want to put him in drills where he might get hurt, so they did zone blitz drills in the spring to make sure that there were no offensive linemen in there where somebody could fall around his legs. He practiced this exact defense with the defensive end all spring long.
First and goal at the 5. Bush looking for touchdown run number 3, and he's got it. Michael Bush again finds the end zone. And what a night it has already been for Louisville. Again, on for the extra point is Art Carmody. And again, he is perfect. 4 for 4. The Cardinals 28-0. It might be a long night for the Cats.
The last sound you hear before you step on the field. Click, clack.
A lot of smiles for the fans here at Papa John's Cardinal Stadium on ESPN's College Football Kickoff Weekend. We welcome you back to Louisville. And there are some long faces probably in Lexington right now as Louisville has a 4-touchdown lead. This is college football primetime as the number 13 Cardinals right now are laying it on. I'm Bob Wischusen here with Rod Gilmore, Trevor Matich, and Tina Dixon. And Rich Brooks is looking for some answers. Last year his team mounted a huge comeback, but boy, when you get outgained by about 240 yards and we have played barely more than a quarter, it's hard to envision the game plan that you're able to formulate off that. And once again, Burton, he takes a knee, and that will give them about as good field position as they've had so far tonight, as Bush a moment ago goes over for the 3rd time.
Let's go back to that touchdown. Now watch your tight ends here. Here's Barnage, 82. Watch the great block he gets on Roger Williams, 35, and it's really easy for Michael Bush to cut off of that for a touchdown.
And Rod, this is what I mean by saying that Louisville is playing faster than Kentucky. They're sustaining their blocks. When the blitz comes from Kentucky, the running backs beat it to the line and squirt through. When the blitz comes from Louisville, they tackle.
Kentucky just needs a first down. They've got to get their defense a rest.
Little tries to squeeze to the outside and picks up 2 yards. Tracked down by Malik Jackson. But so far tonight, Kentucky's offense, and there has not been much of it. Not a drive more than 5 plays, and not lasting more than 23 yards.
And that leaves your defense tired, and they need to regroup. They need to have a break for a series. They need to stay on the sidelines for a bit.
The Cats go no huddle. Woodson with a pump fake, comes to the near side, and Burton can't catch up to it. Adrian Grady provided some pressure.
Well, going no huddle, they're trying to get a spark for the offense, but it also means the defense will have less rest if they go 3 and out. But I like this, and I like that they tried for a big play to Keenan Burton that time. Running the ball right now won't help. They've got to have a controlled passing game, take advantage of man coverage.
No, I disagree. I think they needed to run that ball 1st down and 2nd down. At least give your defense a chance to catch their breath.
3rd and 7. Woodson's next completion will be his first tonight. And there it is. Close to a first down. Depends on the spot. Burton complaining he thought he got to the 30-yard line. It looks like he will be marked down about a yard shy. It should be 4th down and 1. And it looks like Brooks will be forced to send the punting unit on. And here they come.
And that tired defense is going to go right back out there. Another 3 and out. You know, and it's not just getting tired. It's also you don't have time to go through adjustments with your coaching staff. The moment you start to get into it, you have to get back out on the field.
What adjustment? Do I wave at him running by me with my left hand or my right hand?
Maste is set to punt. Again, Carter back deep to receive. A wobbly kick. Carter will let it bounce. And it takes a Kentucky roll So Louisville will have the football back, leading 28-0 with 9:07 to go before halftime. Again, Bob Wischusen, Rod Gilmore, Trevor Matich, and Tina Dixon here as well at Papa John's Cardinal Stadium. And back to the offense for Louisville. We almost sound like a broken record, but this is, again, a challenge for the Kentucky defense.
It is, and I think that defense needs to get a break. And I don't care if you run the ball 3 straight times and punt it, but at least you give your defense a chance to catch their breath. Throwing the ball around isn't going to help them right now. Do you agree?
I agree.
Oh, okay.
They're about to go. I'll say something in a minute.
Brom swings it out. Bush has room. A first down as a flag flies.
So you can't miss a play with Louisville. It might be a touchdown. Napoleon said, "He who defends everywhere defends nowhere." And I think right now Kentucky's defense has got to stop trying to defend everywhere and just attack the line of scrimmage and attack Brom. Even if he does complete passes, so what? They're doing it anyway. Do something to be effective.
I think the thing that would help them most
during the
is
return
on the sideline.
Illegal block in the back. Offense number 7. It's a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. It remains first down.
Well, that's going to be the Sports Center big play of the day for Kentucky so far.
Well, there will be some hope for Louisville, or at least for Kentucky, if Louisville hurts themselves as they did with that penalty. So with 8:40 to go now and the clock rolling here in the second quarter. That backs Brian Brom up. It will be 3rd down and 16 at the 22-yard line. They trap inside out of the shotgun set. And out to the 30, maybe the 31-yard line goes Colby Smith. So he got back the penalty yardage. Check that was 2nd down. So now it will be 2nd down coming up. 2nd down and 8.
Certainly an impressive start for Louisville, and important for them to start this way. Ranked number 13, trying to let some other people out there see them and realize that they're a potent team and have a shot at moving up in the polls.
Play clock down inside of 5. Michael Bush wrapped up and dropped. It will be 3rd and long. Wesley Woodyard, who has been busy, made the stop. Woodyard came to Kentucky as a 195-pound safety, but he is now an outstanding outside linebacker.
And they'll need his leadership. This Kentucky team, because of the NCAA sanctions taking away scholarships that happened before Rich Brooks got there, they only have 6 recruited seniors, and so they need all the leadership they can get.
3rd down and 8. A must stop, you would think, for the Kentucky defense, and they don't get it. Douglas picks up the first down and breaks free for more. He's to midfield. Carl Booker made the stop.
Well, I think the question about Brom and his ability to handle a hit and his mobility, I think both those questions have been answered.
Well, last season, he made his first career start in this game. It was at Kentucky, and he played very, very well. And he is off to a great start tonight. Brom goes play action, looks downfield, wants it all for Douglas, one-on-one, knocked away. Trevard Lindley broke it up, and let's head downstairs to Tina Dixon.
Well, thanks, guys, and I'm with Brian Brom's father, Oscar Brom. What a game so far, but going back to Brian's injury, what was it like for you as a father to watch him go through that?
It was tough to watch him when he got injured. You know, it was just hard. But one thing about it, and I'm really proud of Brian, is he worked 4 or 5 hours every day. It was unbelievable. I went in there one day, and he was biting on a towel like in the old Westerns. That's how bad it was hurting. But he worked out 4 or 5 hours every day. Even on spring break, I wanted to get with him and do a little male bonding. And he wouldn't even take off until finally the last Friday of that week in the afternoon when he got done with his workout. We did something.
Now, how has this injury changed his perspective on things?
Well, Brian's always been very focused and everything. I think he realized how much he really loves football and how much he missed it, and that's one reason he worked so hard to get back. But Brian's a very focused guy. He really works hard.
Now, how nerve-wracking was this week leading up to the first game for you?
Well, I think Brian was just anxious and wanted to get in there and play. But beginning about Wednesday, or probably earlier than that, my wife and I, we were just nervous all week. We've been nervous the whole game. It'd been a lot easier to be playing than just anticipating this. But Brian's really come on strong, and I'm really proud of him.
Now, what about now? How are the nerves now?
Oh, a lot better. A lot better. The whole team's really looking good. It's really fun to watch.
Thanks for your time, Oscar.
Okay, bye.
Guys, it's back to you.
All right, Tina, thanks very much. And in talking with Brian Brohm this past week, and it's something that his father just mentioned, guys, the most painful part of his rehab was when he constantly had to go back in, get the knee worked on, breaking scar tissue. And I remember when he said that, hearing both of you, as former football players, kind of wince over the phone, as that obviously was no fun. But here he is.
Yeah. We've had to do that. And you know what, though? Mentally, the first month was very discouraging. All that pain, but also he lost his ability to really control his muscles. He couldn't even flex his quad. He had to learn how to flex his quad to start his rehab.
Isn't that amazing? That was only nine plus months ago.
He has 5 receivers set here as Bush now motions into the backfield. Brohm has 10 completions to 7 different receivers. That one knocked away at the line, and it looked like Dominic Lewis that knocked it down. He started tonight off as well, paving the way for Bush.
Yeah. Wondered about the mobility, answered it on the very first play by getting out there trying to throw a block, and then coming right back a little bit later, making a nice pass down the field to Patrick Carter and taking hits while he's in the pocket.
Look at him smile at his coach. Hey, coach, I'm okay.
145 yards rushing, 150 yards passing for Louisville here in the first half. And tack on 12 more. A sliding catch made by Harry Douglas. He has been busy, and that's a first down.
You know, the other thing I think that's worth noting is that this is finally Brian Brohm's team. You know, when he came in, Stephen LaFleurs was the quarterback. And all the guys who were seniors, upperclassmen who played with LaFleurs are gone. I mean, this is his team now for the first time since he's been at Louisville.
5 catches for 87 yards now for Harry Douglas. Douglas averaged 17 yards per catch as a sophomore. To the outside goes Bush. Gets to the 30-yard line. A gain of 7 more.
You talk about this being Brohm's team. Remember that Michael Bush was a Mr. Football in Kentucky as a quarterback in high school. But when he came here, Stephen LaFleurs was the quarterback. And the following year, Brian Brohm shows up, and they wanted to get him as an athlete onto the field, so they moved him to running back.
He gets the call again on 2nd and 3 and has a first down. Inside the 25 to the 24. A gain of 6 more yards for Michael Bush.
And Trevor, you're absolutely right about that, because Bush was close to going to Auburn, but came to Louisville thinking he could be a quarterback, but then Petrino changed him over. They knew they had Brohm coming in later, and now he has 2 Mr. Kentucky football players leading this offense.
And Brohm could have gone to Tennessee or Notre Dame, but he wanted to come here and run this offense.
Think about that for a minute. The Notre Dame deal, he would have been there competing with Brady Quinn.
Play action for Brohm. Going deep for Arudia, out of bounds. That last first down for Louisville, their 13th. Only 1 first down in the first half for Kentucky.
Well, going back to the Notre Dame reference, Brady Quinn is the quarterback there, and Brohm considered going to Notre Dame, and we asked him about it. He said, well, you know, it would have been an interesting competition had he gone there. But think about this. He turned down Notre Dame to stay in Louisville. Now, that doesn't happen very often.
Also with the lineage of his family playing here, he's a high school legend from the area. It's a lot of pressure on a young man, and he has handled it tremendously well. Counter inside handoff to Brock Bolin for a gain of 3.
Speaking of Notre Dame, what did you think about them last night?
You know, I was impressed with their defense. I thought Georgia Tech had too much speed for Notre Dame's defense to hold them to that few points. And I really respect the accomplishment of holding him to, what was it, 10?
Yeah. My overriding thought was that Brady Quinn got hit way too much, and that's going to have to change. He cannot get hit that much during the season for Notre Dame.
Overload to the near side for Louisville on 3rd down and 7. Brohm with all kinds of time. Tipped. A scramble for it, and it finally falls incomplete. Oh, Carl Booker had it right in his hands off the deflection. A chance for an interception for Kentucky, and that's the kind of play that the Wildcats need to make.
It looks like one of his teammates knocks it out. Carl Booker is number 10. So the ball is up in the air now, and there's Booker. Yeah, defensive tackle Lamar Mills is the one that knocked it out of his own man's hands.
And the problem was there that Douglas did something he normally doesn't do. He tried to catch the ball off his pads. Normally he catches with his hands.
38-yard field goal attempt is blown dead as it sails through for Carmody, but before the snap, Kentucky called timeout. And the crowd here in Louisville does not like the fact that Kentucky was awarded the timeout. I guess I am moved to ask, how much more do you want? You're up 28-0. Let them call timeout. We'll come back in a moment. Winded are the Kentucky Wildcats as they have been blitzed by Louisville here in the first half. The 13th-ranked Cardinals 28-0, and now looking for more as the Cats a moment ago were awarded a timeout. So now lining up a 38-yard field goal once again will be Art Carmody. Last year he was 14 of 16, 88%. That was a school record. And he is perfect on extra points so far tonight, and now perfect from 38 yards away. 31-0. Louisville is on top, and will return and try to put a potential win tonight for Louisville in perspective. Bobby Petrino patrolling the Louisville sideline, and a 31-0 lead has to make him very happy as the kickoff goes sailing out of the end zone with 4:09 to go before halftime. But getting the feeling for being around the Louisville program this week, guys, that if they ended up with a sizable margin of victory tonight, it would not disappoint that coach or the Louisville fans.
How many points do you think Bobby Petrino would like to hang up tonight? How many?
More than 31.
A lot. And you know, they're going to move this game next year. It's not going to be the opening game. And Bobby Petrino told us, he said, well, you know, I'm not real happy about that. That just means that I only get to hate them for 1 week instead of all off season.
Raphael Little, the lone setback on 1st and 10 to the air, and a quiet start for Jacob Tammy, an excellent tight end for Kentucky. He makes the catch, brought down by Nate Harris for a gain of 5.
You know, there's some coaches that downplay a rivalry and whatnot. Bobby Petrino is not one of them. He made it very clear he likes to beat Kentucky, and he likes to beat them by a lot.
Well, you got the feeling as well, as you look at the awesome numbers that this offense has put up underneath Bobby Petrino. 2nd down and 3 now for the Wildcats. And over the middle, a tipped ball incomplete. But listening to the talk shows in the area for the past couple of days on sports radio, listening to the fans call in, even reading some of the newspaper articles, there seems to be this overriding theme that Louisville sees itself as a far superior football program than Kentucky, and that last year Kentucky kept the game close, almost won at the end, but they wanted to send as a program a statement tonight, and it seems like they're doing just that.
Yeah, part of the message, they want to say they're not getting closer to us.
And they want to say to the nation, hey, we're a legitimate national championship contender. Whether this game proves anything or not, who knows? But they're trying to take advantage of their television opportunities.
3rd down and 3. Woodson just trying to score some points before halftime. A middle screen to Burton. Can he break free? He does. Keenan Burton in a foot race, being chased by 5 Cardinals, and none of them are going to catch him. Touchdown for the Wildcats, and they breathe a little bit of hope back into it for a big Wildcat faithful that came down tonight for the game.
This is almost identical to the score of halftime last year. And Kentucky got a little momentum going into the half last year and came back and almost won that ball game.
J.J. Housley on to attempt the extra point. A somewhat innocent-looking play that goes for 73 yards and a touchdown. So Keenan Burton scores. The extra point is tacked on. So now 2 great friends have scored 4 touchdowns tonight. We'll get to that in a moment, but a reminder that we will have full circle coverage of the Canes and the Noles presented by Dish Network. It starts Monday at 8 Eastern on ESPN, the game as you know it. Then you can see the game how we see it in the truck, all the angles at once. ESPNU, ESPN 360, the Skycam, plus commentary from Colin Cowherd. Every possible ESPN platform will have wall-to-wall coverage of the 11th-ranked Noles and the 12th-ranked Canes tomorrow night. But Burton trying to answer one of his best friends in the world, Michael Bush's 3 touchdowns.
Well, he's one of the guys that it's essential to this rivalry. He grew up with Michael Bush, and he actually grew up going to Louisville games, rooting for them, but didn't get offered a scholarship by Louisville. Has gone to Kentucky and would love to continue to do well against them because Michael Bush is one of his running buddies from when they were kids.
And they still talk. When Burton injured his foot in week 2 last year, he tried to come back later in the season and play injured. And Michael Bush told him, hey, it's too soon. And Burton said, look, you've already proven yourself. I have to prove myself now. And Bush said, I know, but it's still too soon. And it was. He had to have a second surgery.
They met playing Pee Wee football when they were 7 years old. They've been friends ever since. There are flags down on this return as Spencer brings it out across the 25 to the 27-yard line. We'll have to check the penalty, and it may be offsides against Kentucky. It looks as if the flags were dropped back as the Cats jumped offsides on the kickoff. That is a mental error, if there ever was one. Let's see how Louisville approaches it. They'll probably just take the 5 yards.
That's a 5-yard penalty enforced from the end of the run. First down.
That's an option now in college football. You can have the 5-yard penalty on a kicking play tacked on to the end of the run in addition to the return yardage, or force the opposition to kick off again. And Bobby Petrino takes field position at his own 33-yard line with 2:45 to go before halftime. Plenty of time for this Cardinal offense. Braun to throw. Incomplete. And Reese Davis is back with a SportsCenter update.
All right, guys, coming up on the Olive Garden halftime report, Louis Mark alongside Florida State Miami. We'll look ahead. I'll see if these guys have changed their mind about the best 1-2 punch in the country after watching Brom and Bush and the latest on Ben Roethlisberger. So what do you think? Persuading you a little bit?
Oh, there's an awful lot of good 1-2 punches, but I don't think I would change. But there are a lot of good ones, including the ones at Michigan.
As you know, it's always a fluid situation.
Early in the season, very fluid. You can't change your mind now.
All right, we'll join the coach and Mark and Reese at halftime as Michael Bush goes back to work and weaves his way out across the 40-yard line to the 41, 2 yards shy of a first down.
Wow, you know, there's some pretty good 1-2 punches out there. This one tonight is pretty good, pretty hard to beat, and probably, you know, Brady Quinn with anybody is a pretty good 1-2 punch. Schmarzer certainly works, but anybody with Brady Quinn is pretty good.
First down for Bush. He stops the clock, picking up 3 yards on 3rd and 2.
Yeah, 2 things came to mind. One is Brady Quinn Samardzija. The second is, why on earth is Louisville going no huddle right now?
Why?
Why?
They want more points.
They're going to have to add an extra decimal point to their darn scoreboard.
Oh, come on. You know they're going to keep going after Kentucky. It's a rivalry game.
Well, this feeds into what we were talking about a moment ago as Brom pump fakes, tucks it under, and this makes everyone in Louisville country hold their breath as he dives out for about 4 yards.
That's the third thing. Why is Brom in the game now? I know he has to get his game speed up, but they're playing at tempo next week.
Whoa, Trevor, it's the first half. And last year, it was 28-7 at halftime. Kentucky came back. You're up, what is it, 31-7 now? You don't want to throw in the towel right now. I mean, Kentucky came back last year.
Brom looking downfield, and he finds his man. A strike to Patrick Carter for a first down. And I agree with Rod. To me, the game is not over. It's a 24-point game, granted. But with 1:26 to go in the first half, I still think Louisville has to approach this game as if the contest is still somewhat in doubt.
Let's just hope that he doesn't get hit in the knee.
1st and 10. They protect him well on this play. Over the middle, looking for Bush. Flags fly. Brom went down as he was hit from behind. Bush was hit from behind as well by Ben McGrath. And it will be pass interference against the Cats. You be the judge.
Trevor, this is what you're concerned about. A hit like this from behind on Brom.
You know, there's something to be said for the idea of bringing him along a little bit slowly, and it's the running game that's really hurt them. Is that, boy, that can't be the call right there.
I think it was McGrath against Michael Bush.
He hit him in the back a little bit early. But the thing that concerns me here about Braun being in the game, not to say, hey, we've already got it won, but just to say that right now he's gotten his work, he's gotten hit. He's going to be sore tomorrow. The
First down.
The running game will still continue to roll. And to get Hunter Cantwell in right now and get him meaningful minutes is valuable as well as backup quarterback.
1st and 10. Again, Braun with time. Buying some more. And down the sideline it goes to Carter. Loses the football. Kentucky appears to have it. A scramble for it at the 25-yard line. Ben McGrath knocked it away, and the Wildcats have it back, still with 59 seconds to go and 2 timeouts. McGrath recovered it.
This is Carter, the transfer, who actually had a nice grab there, but then just couldn't hang on to the ball. The transfer from Georgia Tech.
Marcus McClinton, experienced safety, made the play they needed.
So now Andre Woodson with the clock moving, change of possession. So they lose about 10 seconds. Goes deep over the middle, tripped up at midfield is the intended receiver, and no flag comes out. Now we see Laundrie on the far side, and that flag came out a bit late, although it probably was the right call. Latarius Thomas got tangled up. 43 seconds to go before halftime.
Well, that's Tammy, the tight end. They're trying to get down the middle. And you saw the trip there.
That's a big call. 15 yards.
Defense number 30. 15 yards from the previous spot with automatic first down.
Well, that will take Kentucky out to about their own 40-yard line. Still with plenty of time, 43 seconds and 2 timeouts.
And Tammy wide open there. That could have been about a 60-yard gain before they would have caught him. Now we see Kentucky finally starting to get some of their playmakers the ball.
Well, remember we talked about how they got something going last year in the second quarter, got back in the ball game, and then came back in the third quarter. And you're seeing the same recipe right now. If they get something out of this drive, Kentucky can be right back in it.
Joker Phillips said that Jacob Tammy could be the leading receiver for this Kentucky team at the end of the season. He stays in to protect here on 1st and 10. Downfield, it's a jump ball. Another flag comes out. The intended receiver, Michael Strickland, was bumped all the way down at the 20-yard line. It is not the NFL. This would not be a spot foul, but that could be 15 more tacked on for the Cats.
I think that's a bad call. You have to let guys run down the field. If there's any inadvertent bumping, that's part of the process. And these are Division I football players. You have to let them play a bit. Look at that. You've got a left arm from the receiver. You can't call that pass interference.
That could have arguably also been ruled an uncatchable pass.
You know, Rod, the only thing I could think that he might have seen that was hard to see from that angle is if John Russell's right arm went out and barred the receiver and barred the receiver's left arm just a little bit. From that angle, it looked like it could have happened, but it was hard to see. Otherwise, that did look inadvertent.
Going out on a limb, though, I usually am anticipating that Rod's going to have at least a little bit of sympathy for the defensive back in that matchup.
Listen, just look at the replay. Don't worry about who's talking. Look at the replay. I mean, look at that.
Looked like good coverage. I think you're right. So a break for the Cats. Kentucky now into Louisville territory. 1st and 10 at the Cardinals' 46. The Cardinals show blitz. Here they come. Woodson drops the ball. It's alive. Gets back up and looks downtown. Burton makes the catch inside the 5. That stops the clock with 26 seconds to go before halftime. And boy, oh boy, is momentum turned back in Kentucky's favor.
What composure by Woodson. He loses the ball, but watch him. He will hurry, but he will not rush. He's cool, and he gets the ball out there. He knows Burton is out there.
And what a great job by Burton to not go into his scramble mode. He kept going down the field knowing that Woodson expected him to be deep down the sideline. He didn't stop when he saw the ball come out.
A 42-yard completion. And a timeout called with 26 seconds to go, 27 seconds to go here in the first half. And this, again, is similar to that theme that we were talking about from last year's game. Is it possible that if Kentucky scores a touchdown here, do we have a very live football game back on our hands?
I think it's quite possible. I don't know if it's a letdown by Louisville or just a couple of key plays by Kentucky, but it's just like last season, and they came back and had a chance to win that ball game, but for a fumble down around the goal line.
Right, I agree with you with the key plays. For most of this first half, nothing was happening on Kentucky's side. Andre Woodson was 0 for his first 6 passes. We saw that stat, and his playmakers were not getting the ball. Now the playmakers are starting to get the ball, and lo and behold, those playmakers are making something happen.
And really, it's been 2 plays. A middle screen to Burton goes for a score, a somewhat innocent-looking play, and that's followed by a turnover by Louisville.
And 2 pass interference calls.
They have been big on this drive. Raphael Little is set to Woodson's left. He backs up into the shotgun on 1st and goal at the 4. Still 2 timeouts for Kentucky. To the end zone. Touchdown! Dickie Lyons comes up with the score. 2 touchdowns late in the second quarter for Kentucky, and they are back in the game. Lyons, a redshirt. Last season, after playing 7 games as a freshman, he is a redshirt sophomore, and he comes up with his first touchdown catch of the season. J.J. Housley to attempt the extra point. 31-14 with 21 seconds to go in the first half, but if the score stays as it is, and probably a fairly good chance that it will. What a different feeling for Rich Brooks' squad when they go to the locker room moments from now.
Well, at halftime, he can tell his team that they're in better shape now than they were last year at halftime, and they almost won last year's ball game. So he's got a halftime speech he can use now.
And look at the difference in the body language, the demeanor of Kentucky's players. They're jumping around, they're high-fiving each other. They're excited now. I mean, they see that 14, and that erases from their memory for the time being the 31 that just got put on.
You know, the play that Woodson made when he bobbled the ball and then threw it out to Burton, that was a key turning point for him personally. That is the kind of play that he would not have made last year. Last year, he would fumble the ball, lose the ball in key situations, and it would hurt the team. This time, he fumbled it and still made something positive happen.
And Trevor, you mentioned the start that Woodson got off to, 0 for 7 overall. Since starting 0 for 7, he is 5 of 6 for 132 yards and 2 touchdowns. So you certainly have to tip your hat to that young man, just mentally in this environment, starting off down 28-0 to make that type of a comeback. Rod Council gets hammered at the 21-yard line. Oh, what a stick. Special teams pop made by Ashton Cobb. 14 seconds to go in the half, and if you are the Cardinals here, it's time to come out and take a knee.
And look at the body language now. That's such a complete turnaround from just a couple of minutes ago. If you're Louisville, you have just let your opponent back into the game.
And keep in mind, in the second half, Kentucky will get the ball first.
A draw to Bush. He has running room, picks up a first down, and that will do it for the first half. At one point, it was 31-0. Louisville on top. It was a great start tonight for Brian Brohm, and overall a great first half. But coming up now at the half, we head back to Reese Davis, Lou Holtz, and Mark May, the Olive Garden halftime report. Gentlemen.
It was almost as if Kentucky missed kickoff time by about 45 minutes or so. But once the Wildcats figured out they were going to start playing, they turned this into a game, and Louisville made a mistake, let them back in it, Lou.
The one thing that really impressed me about the University of Kentucky was how well their defensive backs covered the receivers from Louisville. Time after time, Brohm had all kind of time to throw the ball, but the receivers could not get free. Kentucky couldn't get any pressure on them, but I was really impressed with the secondary because that was one of the biggest problems Kentucky had coming in, or at least they thought. As it turned out, they got some other problems now.
I think there's been a huge momentum change in this game. Obviously, it's in Kentucky's favor right now, but I think what's key in this game, if you go back and look, Michael Bush, the running back from Louisville, is a beast. I had him in my top 8 in the Heisman. I'm going to move him up because the first half of this game, 123 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns. As you mentioned before, he wants to get 30 touchdowns this year. I think he will.
I didn't know he meant he was going to get them all in the first half of the first game.
Unbelievable. He's very impressive.
And he is a load. He's in great shape, showing some shiftiness, too, at 250.
Every day, you play to be the best.
Welcome back to Louisville. The 13th ranked Cardinals with a 31-14 lead in a game that became much more interesting based on Kentucky's comeback in the final moments of the first half. As we check tonight's game track, brought to you by Hampton Inn. And what a start it was tonight for Michael Bush. He already has 15 carries for 124 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's the first of his 3. And Brian Brohm has also been very efficient as well. 186 yards and a touchdown pass. But back came Kentucky. The big plays made by Keenan Burton. 121 yards on 3 catches, 73 of which came on an innocent-looking inside screen that he took all the way for a touchdown. And now the Wildcats will start the second half with the ball, as one of the great friends of Keenan Burton, Michael Bush and Brian Brohm, are going to have to sit and watch as Todd Flannery is set to kick off, and Burton is back deep alongside Dickie Lyons to receive for Kentucky. Bob Wischusen here in Louisville with Rod Gilmore, Trevor Matich, and Tina Dixon. And it's a perfect night for football, but the game became a lot less perfect for Bobby Petrino's team in the final 5 minutes of the first half. Here comes Burton, trying to make another play. Has a lane across the 35 and out to the 36-yard line. Moments ago, Tina Dixon down on the field caught up with the Kentucky head coach, Rich Brooks.
Well, Coach, 2 touchdowns there at the end of the half. What turned things around for you?
Well, we got ourselves back in it. We played awful football for 20 minutes and then started to play a little better. Now our challenge is to play well the next 30 minutes and see if we can capitalize on our finish before the half.
How do you keep this momentum going?
Well, one thing we need to do is stop their offense, which we have not done a very good job of, obviously. They're very talented, but we can play a lot better than we played.
Well, the Kentucky offense gets to start the second half with the football. Not much on the ground so far for Raphael Little, and he is tripped up by Nate Harris.
Well, Kentucky needs to keep trying to get the ball to their playmakers, and Nate Harris just zeroed in on Raphael Little.
Yeah, there he is. Keep your eye on him.
He knew that Little was going to get that ball, and he was not blocked at all.
Harris again barking out the defensive signals after a loss of 1. Woodson to throw. Now has a lane to run. Tucks it under. Gets hit at the 40, but falls out to the 43. About 3 yards shy of a first down. It will set up 3rd down and 3.
Well, somehow, some way, Kentucky needs to mount a ground attack. They only had 21 yards rushing in the first half. And conversely, Louisville picked up 191 yards on the ground.
Well, for Kentucky, their first 5 possessions, 26 yards and 5 punts. Their last 2 possessions, 127 yards and 2 touchdowns. And that shocked the crowd going into halftime. If the Wildcats can find a way to score points on this drive, we have a football game. Again, an inside screen, and Tammy picks up the first down.
See, Rod, this to me is the ground attack. If they can keep completing these short passes, move the chains, and hope for an occasional breakout catch and run like Keenan Burton has, they're okay.
Absolutely, I agree with you. Look at that. 21 in the first half compared to that 191 for Louisville.
And how about this number? In plus territory, 43 seconds Kentucky spent on Louisville's half of the 50-yard line, and they still found a way to score 14 points. Now, of course, they only spent 8 of those 43 seconds when Keenan Burton ran for about 73 yards, as right now Adrian Grady, one of the starting inside tackles for the Cardinals, is down and being tended to. It's a fairly deep defensive front for Louisville, but Bobby Petrino would not want to lose one of his starting tackles on opening night. So some concern for the Louisville head coach as Grady is helped up and slowly limps off.
Well, Grady's been effective at penetration, at getting pressure on Andre Woodson on the pass, and at getting penetration to disrupt the running game. And so this does affect the effectiveness of this defensive line.
You know, that scene almost looks identical to last season in this game when Lamar Mills was helped off the field for Kentucky, and they lost him for the rest of the season at defensive tackle. Woodson going downtown. Knocked away. The intended receiver, David Jones, but Rod Counsell was back deep in coverage.
And Rod Counsell is a very good corner. He knows how to play the ball. You know, they actually spent a lot of time in the offseason, Louisville did, using baseball gloves to catch fly balls, working on the deep ball. So they traded in the football for the baseball to work on the football game.
I get it.
Okay. All right.
You spoke just slowly enough for me to keep up. You have to check with Trevor, though. I can't confirm or deny on his behalf.
Well, that makes you really good at baseball.
No. If you can follow a deep ball in football.
2nd down and 10. Woodson with a swing pass in the flat, one-on-one. Little breaks a tackle. Check that, Tony Dixon down the left sideline, very close to a first down.
Now, we can forgive you for confusing Little and Dixon because they're about the same size. They were 22 and 28. They came in at the same time, and it was unclear who was going to be the starting running back until Dixon got hurt, and then Little took over.
Tony Dixon missed all of last season watching Raphael Little turn into one of the great all-around players in the SEC. He was 5th in the nation last season with 180 all-purpose yards per game, and he is now back in the offset eye. A big play on 3rd down and 2 in plus territory. Woodson to throw. A swing pass knocked down at the line. Coming from the outside on a blitz was Malik Jackson, and it will be 4th down and short. And Kentucky will be forced to play field position.
Yeah, as tempting as it might be for Kentucky fans to say go for it, not a good decision. You got to punt the ball here, play the field position game, and not let the Louisville offense start around midfield.
But if that Jackson doesn't knock that ball down, fullback John Connor was wide open for a catch and run, and it would have been 25 yards before any defender could have closed on it.
John Connor, Terminator.
Mastay is set to punt. And once again, it's Patrick Carter back deep to receive. Mastay, his first 5 punts of the night came on the first 5 Kentucky possessions. We haven't seen him since. And he wobbles one down the left sideline and does his job. Kills it at about the 10-yard line. So the worst field position so far tonight for Louisville comes at a time when Kentucky has some momentum back.
But you know what the mindset of an offense like Louisville is when they have poor field position? Good. More total yards before we score. That's how they think.
Well, I expect them to come out and toss the ball deep down the field.
Why?
Well, they've done that in that situation before. They don't mind coming after you when they're backed up.
Michael Bush back in at tailback. He had 9 100-plus yard games last season. And off the right side goes for about 6 yards. Wesley Woodyard made the tackle, and the game of the year may come in week 2. Saturday Night Football on ABC, Ohio State and Texas at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. In a rematch from last season, Jim Tressel leads the Buckeyes into Austin to take on Mack Brown's Longhorns. Troy Smith opened up the season for Ohio State with 3 touchdowns. Colt McCoy looked very solid. Granted, again, it was against North Texas, which I think I've heard every person that has analyzed the Texas game in the last 2 days preface that by saying, hey, it was against North Texas. But if you're looking to replace Vince Young, he got off to a good start. And not off to a good start is Bush on this play as Woodyard forces him back. It will be a loss of a couple of yards.
Well, you know, North Texas State, so what? Texas is the defending national champ. And until somebody knocks them off, I think they're a pretty good team. And McCoy certainly had a nice opening night. But if you want to talk about Heisman candidates, how about Smith? He looked awesome in his debut.
Now, what if a Heisman candidate takes a bit of a blow here as Michael Bush on the far side is down for Louisville? So this is not what the better part of the 42,000 wearing red here at Papa John Cardinal Stadium want to see. And there's a very concerned party as we take another look. Woodyard now has 10 tackles tonight. This was number 10.
Oh, ow. Wow. Well, that doesn't look good for Michael Bush. He's got aspirations on the Heisman Trophy this year, but beyond that, he's got aspirations to play in the NFL. And he could have left last year as a junior and been a relatively high draft choice, but he saw juniors such as Lendale White and Reggie Bush come out into the draft, thought he'd come back for his senior season. And so hopefully this is not a serious injury.
Well, he might have seen his senior season come to an end on that play. You'd hate to speculate, but boy, that looked like a very serious fall that Woodyard took on the right leg of Michael Bush, and now the cart is coming out to take Bush off the field.
Well, he's obviously in a lot of pain, and the cart is there for a reason, so they're going to get him off the field and hopefully get him checked out and hopefully find out that things aren't as bad as they might have looked.
Things just got very, very quiet here in Louisville with 11:26 to go in the third quarter. A game that the Cardinals still lead by 17, but one of their franchise players is down.
Nothing like shopping for a little fresh produce. Can never get enough fiber. Yeah, this is all way more interesting than...
Smith and George Stripling now in a tag team will take over.
Yeah, and Smith is a very fine running back. He's been a second fiddle to Bush for years. He's a senior. He's not as big as Bush. He's 215 pounds, about 5'11", but he is a very good running back.
Raphael Little calling for a fair catch and fielding at the 46-yard line. So the Wildcats have the football back with 10:37 remaining in the third quarter in a game that looked like it was over, but is far from it, but with more. Downstairs on Michael Bush is Tina Dixon.
Thanks, guys. Well, I just spoke to the trainer, Dwayne Trillo, and he came up to me and just said he's got a broken leg. Now, when that happened, as you can imagine, the whole stadium went quiet. However, when he was carted off, cheers were made. But the sideline of the Cardinals right now, their heads are hanging low. They're trying to stay fired up for this game.
Well, that will be hard to do, Tina. Thanks very much. Confirmed from the sideline what we certainly suspected as we looked at the video firsthand. It is a broken leg for Michael Bush as Raphael Little picks up a yard.
Well, Tina makes a very important point about the impact of the injury on the team. You have to keep in mind this is the second major injury in 2 years to a star player for Louisville. They lost Brian Brom last year, and that really dashed their hopes at the end of the season. And now they've lost Bush at the beginning of this season. That's very tough emotionally on a team.
Second down and 9. Close to midfield for the Wildcats. They have scored the game's last 14 points. Here comes the blitz. They pick it up deep down the middle. Open and making a diving attempt was Michael Strickland. That was almost another big play for the Kentucky passing game.
And Trevor, they're not backing off. I mean, they're going after it. As you take a look at the ambulance now, taking Michael Bush away. And obviously they're going to go check on that broken leg. It's been reported as a broken leg. But Kentucky continues to take shots down the field as Louisville keeps coming with the blitz.
Third down and 9. And for the first time in quite a while, the majority of the fans wearing red here in Louisville making a lot of noise. Buying some time, Woodson throws one, caught by Burton in traffic, but about 2.5 yards shy of a first down. What a catch.
Well, they had been in man-to-man coverage. They go away from it this time. They play a zone, and you'll see Council sitting in the zone, coming up nicely, but a great job by Burton to make that grab as he comes back to the ball, but not enough for the first down.
And Rod, a difference now is that the protection has solidified. Woodson had time to come off his primary receiver and come back to Burton on that comeback route.
Now, unlike the last drive, gentlemen, Kentucky is going to go for it on fourth down.
I still think it's too soon for that.
Here comes the blitz. Batted down at the line. It's loose. That'll go as an incompletion. And the decision turns the other way for Rich Brooks as now Louisville will take over on downs near midfield, and momentum and field position go back to the Cardinals.
Well, and that's why I made the point that I thought it was too early. You had momentum. You still have a chance to back them up. They're still down emotionally. So now you give them something good. You give them good field position, and now Louisville has something to try to rally around.
I agree, Rod. A punt down inside the 10-yard line is a momentum-building play for the team that punts, and they didn't give themselves a chance to do that.
So now a very dangerous Louisville offense comes back out. Colby Smith in the game as the lone setback. As we just learned, Michael Bush has a broken leg and is being taken to the hospital. Fromm under pressure. He'll be sacked. The pocket collapses back at the 43-yard line. Lamar Mills helped out on the sack along with Myron Pryor.
And guys, there's just a very different feel in this stadium right now. There is a feel, a sense of Kentucky really kind of coming on, and Louisville kind of scrambling to find themselves. That confidence on that sideline is gone right now.
Part of that, Rod, is that the fans fully understand the impact of the loss of Michael Bush emotionally, and their energy has dropped.
Lamar Mills on the interior drawing some pressure there. He's being compared along with Myron Pryor to Dwayne Robertson. Wide open down the left sideline, though, is the tight end, Gary Barnidge. So just after the sack, Fromm answers right back with a deep completion.
Linebacker Braxton Kelly, number 56, was following Barnidge across the field, and he tripped and fell. When Brom saw that, he went right to Barnidge.
That gain of 22 yards gives Louisville a first down at the Kentucky 34 with 7.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Smith up the middle. Check that, Stripling for a good gain down close to the 20-yard line. First down.
Now, emotionally, the loss of Bush is huge. On the field, it's not so bad because Colby Smith and George Stripling make a great 1-2 punch. Stripling, the speedy guy, Smith, more of a power back. And those two guys can combine to replace a lot of Bush's production. Losing Brom, however, would be huge.
First and 10. Louisville now has 414 yards of total offense. Stripling with a lane to the 15, to the 5, at the pylon, knocked out. Inside the 2. First and goal for Louisville. And a moment ago, now you might start to second guess in terms of the field position decision. Kentucky turning it over on downs, and like lightning, it's first and goal.
Well, what do you mean second guess? We had a first guess up here.
Yeah, Rod and I agreed, too. That's stunning.
Yeah, that's the first time this season.
Which for a moment might have been good news for Rich Brooks. But it has turned out not to be good news at all. First and goal at the 2. And a touchdown here for Louisville would certainly take back all the momentum from Kentucky. Stripling on the ground at the goal line, pushed back, stopped just shy inside the 1. It will be second down and goal.
Now you miss Michael Bush down there. You miss about 50 pounds, and you miss his ability to kind of dip and move and get to the corner.
6 minutes and 20 seconds remaining. An update from Tina Dixon down on the sideline. It is a broken tibia, the lower part of the leg for Bush. Stripling still in the game. A toss sweep to the outside. Gets a block. Touchdown. The 4th rushing touchdown of the night for Louisville. And with 6:04 remaining in the third quarter, the Cards back with a commanding lead. Kent Quarterman out front with the lead block. Carmody to tack on the point after. And he stays perfect. So the decision to go for it on 4th down ends up hurting Kentucky. Louisville answers back with a 48-yard touchdown drive. And they have a 38-14 lead.
Tuesday.
Brought to you by KFC's Fiery Buffalo Boneless Wings. It's no bones, all flavor, only at KFC.
38-14. Louisville has the lead. And this, of course, is where they make the Louisville Sluggers. That's the Tina Dixon model, which we understand might find its way into the locker of Bobby Abreu before the season's over. 6:04 remaining. And Louisville has now taken back a commanding lead at 38-14. And the Cardinals set to kick off. Again, Burton is back deep to receive. And Burton will field about 5 yards deep in the end zone and think better of bringing it out. And it turns out that Tino is not the only one to get.
Yeah.
This might be the coolest thing anyone's ever given me.
Is that cool or what?
It's got my name on it, your name. Let's see if my name is spelled. They even spelled my name right.
You know,
that's amazing.
This is better than Little League, you know? You get your own Louisville Slugger with your name on it.
That's
not
the
bad.
best. Trev?
You look like you don't know what that is.
I never could hit anyway. I'll just lean this against the wall and enjoy it.
You know, a lot of the defensive linemen you went up against said roughly the same thing.
Ow.
You're supposed to pick up on it.
I have a bat in my hand. You better not say that.
There's a delayed reaction. What is this, a 7-second delay? Are we on radio? Woodson down the sideline, wide open, and streaking is Dickie Lyons. Touchdown. Well, every time tonight that Kentucky has needed a quick strike answer, they have gotten it. And they're an extra point away from keeping the lead. That's 17. Well, and they may go for 2.
Look how Woodson hangs in here. He's just getting pummeled there, but he hangs in there even though he is draped around the backside by Michael Adams.
And the reason this is happening is that the entire first half, the corners of Louisville did a good job covering. The blitz got to Woodson, and he couldn't complete a pass. Now, the offensive line is doing a better job of picking up the blitz, and Woodson is taking advantage of man coverage.
Housley on to attempt the extra point. So rather than go for 2 and try to cut it to 16, they will opt for the point after and keep the lead at 17, which is a 3-score game rather than a 2-score game at the same time. 5.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. There's still a lot of time, especially as quick striking offenses they have shown here from the late in the second quarter.
Yep, right decision. No need to go for 2 points yet. Get yourself completely back in the ball game. Don't start chasing PATs yet.
Defensive coordinator for Louisville, Mike Cassidy, intentionally puts his corners on the island. He tells them that they're going to make Sports Center one way or the other. You might as well do it by making a great one-on-one play. Well, right now, they're having the plays made on them.
Well, you got to get a little help. The blitz has got to hit home. When you're a corner, you expect to hold up out there for a certain amount of time. But if you're bringing a blitz, the blitz has got to get there.
Well, Bobby Petrino, who certainly oversees all of the football operations on his own sideline, but is primarily an offensive coach, looked like he was having a conversation with his defensive staff saying, guys, there's 38 points on the board and the game is still in doubt. He did not look at all happy.
Well, Bobby Petrino is a tough coach. He knows what he wants, and he's going to demand it, whether it's from his players or his coaching staff.
And you know what? Now the defense has forced Brian Brohm to stay in this game. From a health standpoint, that's risky.
Council and Spencer back deep to receive. It's short, fielded on a hop by Council at the 11. And he is brought down at the 15-yard line.
I just think that Woodson's confidence grew in that first half after this play. When he lost that ball and picked it up and made this throw, I think that told him he'd arrived. I mean, he had a problem handling the football last season, and yet this is a new season. He handles it correctly. He doesn't rush. He keeps his composure, and he makes a great throw, and he's been on target since then.
So with the game still not yet decided, 5 minutes to go in the third quarter, it's back to Brian Brohm and the Louisville offense. Brohm to the near side. Urrutia makes the catch. And up the right sideline, ridden out of bounds, lost a shoe on the way, gets out to the 30-yard line. Trevard Lindley was in coverage. He slipped and fell, and Urrutia was wide open.
Well, and he lost his shoe in the process, which was part of the reason why Lindley couldn't get to Urrutia. And watch the shoe of number 32 come off. There, right there. He loses that, but he still has the presence of mind to get out there and make the tackle.
And the presence of mind to get that foot off the ground. He rode Urrutia that time to the ground.
What size Urrutia has as well. 6'6", 230-pound sophomore from right here in Louisville. 1st and 10 from the 35. Back to the ground attack. And again from the press box, we have had it confirmed now. It is a broken tibia for Michael Bush, and Louisville has already announced that he is done for the rest of the season.
Well, there's no way he could come back. The tibia, that's the big shin bone. It's not the small bone that's behind it. It's the big one, and it takes that big bone a long time to heal when you break it.
A gain of 3 on first down for the Cardinals. It's 2nd down and 7. Back to the ground once again, and running room to the near side. Shaking and baking is Colby Smith. And he has a first down just shy of midfield, brought down by Micah Johnson, one of the true freshmen playing tonight, and a very highly touted inside linebacker recruit for the Wildcats.
Well, you can't help but feel badly for Michael Bush and his being out for the season. His senior year, as Trevor mentioned, he came back for his senior season, bypassed the NFL, took out a $2 million insurance policy on this season. But this young man, an outstanding player, is important to this Louisville team and its prospects for winning the Big East.
You mentioned, though, the tag team of Smith and Stripling now back in on first down. A very capable running back tandem as the play action fake by Brom frees up his fullback Bolin. He's down the right sideline, very close to a first down. Actually, Barnidge makes the catch, the tight end, as he dragged to the near side, a gain of 12.
Going back to Michael Bush, he has not redshirted yet. So he could redshirt this year and come back next year, but that doesn't change the fact that Bobby Petrino's team now has to replace his production for what they hope is a conference and national championship run. And we're finding out now how the backup running backs are doing. Right now, George Stripling, number 24.
Well, last year Bush gained over 1,100 yards, but Smith and Stripling combined for over 1,100 yards. As this was a dominant rushing football team, and here is Stripling to the short side of the field, and he might go to the 20, turning on the Jets. Touchdown. The 5th rushing touchdown tonight for Louisville, and Stripling now has a pair. .38-yard touchdown scamper for George Stripling.
Wow, he's got some speed.
Art Carmody again on to attempt the extra point. 3:35 to go in the third quarter. And Carmody once again right down the middle. 45-21. Michael Bush ran for 3 touchdowns in the first half. He is gone for the season, but his replacements filling in adequately, to say the least. Plenty of fans here in Louisville bought their number 19 jerseys and shirts, thinking that this season they were going to see Michael Bush potentially make a run to the Heisman. Instead, tonight he ran for 3 touchdowns in the first half and loses the rest of his season to a broken leg. But George Stripling has now combined with Colby Smith here in the second half, and Stripling with his 2nd touchdown run a moment ago. And the Cardinals back on top of the Wildcats, 45-21.
Obviously, you don't know if Smith and Stripling can carry Bush's load the entire season. Bush has answered the bell for 3 straight years and been a very durable player.
Flannery's kickoff 5 yards deep in the end zone, forcing Keenan Burton to take a knee. And it will come out to the 20-yard line. So from ecstasy to agony tonight as we take a look at the evening for Michael Bush.
It was a great start for him. Great job getting into the secondary. This touchdown run was the first of his 3 touchdown runs for the night.
And you see the combination of speed and power, but now, see Rod and I turn around and don't want to even look at that every time it happens. What a disappointing thing, and what a painful injury that must be.
Well, we understand that. He's on his way to the hospital. They've talked to him. He's crushed, obviously. His family is disappointed.
Curtis Pulley in as a slash player and off the hybrid formation as they try and stretch him out for a little hitch play. He picks up 3 yards.
Roger, talk about emotionally, he's so down. Crushed is the word that we were told, and I can see that because of such high expectations that he had for his role on this team and for his own personal goals, and all of a sudden in the first game starting so fast and they're just taken away.
Curtis Pulley stays in the game. He's the slot receiver at the bottom of your screen. Tony Dixon in the backfield. 2nd and 7 for the Wildcats.
And once again, their offense will be called upon to try and strike quickly. Play clock down to 1, and they did not get the play off. It will be a delay of game penalty against Kentucky.
Prior to the snap, delay of game, offense 3. That's a 5-yard penalty. It remains second down.
So 2nd and 7 turns into 2nd and 12 as the clock continues to roll here in the third quarter. And look at the scoring drives. An average scoring drive tonight for Kentucky of 3 plays, 79 yards, and 40 seconds. They have struck like lightning when they have scored. Here comes the blitz. Under pressure, Woodson hit as he throws it into no man's land, looking to dump it off to Dixon. The blitz was coming from Lamar Miles right up the middle.
And Mike Cassidy has brought pressure all night long, the defensive coordinator. He's been determined to go. And you'll see the pressure come again. This time it's Miles. He comes right between that A gap. He doesn't get picked up by Dixon, the running back, and he's all on top of Woodson.
3rd down and 12. And here comes the crowd once again. UK is 2 for 9 on 3rd down tonight. Woodson trying to buy some time. Escapes the rush. Directing traffic. Again, a deep ball. And he had 2 players in the area, and neither could come up with it. Tammy and Strickland were both well downfield. It'll be 4th down.
Woodson has shown such leadership tonight after that awful start. But it's not just tonight. Coming out of spring training, when he was demoted to second team behind Curtis Pulley, he stayed and did things he never did before in his career. Lifted hard during the offseason. Rallied the team in practices without the coaches there. And that leadership has shown up tonight.
Mass State to punt. Patrick Carter back deep to receive. And Louisville drops off to set up the return. Nice spiraling kick. Fielding it is Carter. And about a 5-yard return as we check in with Reese Davis, a 30 at 30 SportsCenter update.
Ben Roethlisberger will not start for the Steelers in the season opener against the Dolphins. Big Ben had to undergo an emergency appendectomy. Not sure when he'll be back. Charlie Batch will start the season opener. The appendix, by the way, according to his agent, did not burst. And Andre Agassi, his career is over. He loses in 4 sets in the U.S. Open to Benjamin Becker. Much more on the story coming up on SportsCenter after the game. ESPN News always available, so too mobile ESPN alerts.
An end around on 1st down. Douglas gets hit after a gain of only a couple of yards. Braxton Kelly, who was a younger high school classmate of Wesley Woodyard. They both went to LaGrange High School in LaGrange, Georgia. And Wesley Woodyard took it upon himself to basically be the recruiting coordinator for UK. And he convinced Braxton Kelly to come, along with a few other LaGrange alums. It's like a pipeline to Kentucky football from LaGrange, Georgia. 2nd down and 9. Coming up on 1 minute to go in the third quarter. Braun to throw to his left. Finds his tight end Scott Kuhn. It'll be about 4 yards shy of a 1st down.
Well, Kentucky has really struggled to handle the multiple sets that they get from Louisville. The run defense, Trevor, has just not been good. Inside, they expected to have better play out of Myron Pryor and Lamar Mills, but they really haven't gotten great run defense from anybody tonight.
3rd down and 4. What might be the final play of the quarter. Braun connects with Gary Barnidge, and that is good for a 1st down for Louisville inside the 40-yard line of Kentucky with 16 seconds to go in the 3rd.
Roger, talk about the run defense of Kentucky. Louisville's offensive line is overlooked with all the flash of Brian Brom and the receivers. Eric Wood at center and Kirk Quarterman at guard especially are as good a pair as anybody in the country.
1st and 10. Louisville looking to add to their lead. Brom fires Here's one over the middle. A sliding attempt made by Douglas. It's incomplete. It will be 2nd down and 10 with 12 seconds to go in the quarter.
And Trevor, we're talking about that run defense. Kentucky has given up 280 yards on the ground tonight. Wow. 280. That's the thing that's going to make Mike Archer, the D coordinator, go back to the drawing board and show his guys you can't give up 280 yards on the ground.
What do you think your winning percentage is when you give up 280 on the ground?
It's nothing in any language.
2nd and 10. And once again, working on the ground with the ball popping out late is Louisville. Kentucky says they have it, and there was no down by contact signal from the officials. Well, it looked as if Colby Smith hit the turf before the ball popped out. Let's see what the officials say.
Because of replay, the officials won't blow the whistle if they think it might be a fumble. If they're not sure, they'll let play continue.
Well, they've awarded the ball to Kentucky, but I would have to think this is a play that is being immediately reviewed.
Well, every play is reviewed. Instant replay is uniform across college football starting this season, and every play is reviewed.
He's definitely
And that
down.
knee was down, and that ball came out. And that play is already being reviewed.
But let's say the official thought he was probably down, but not exactly sure. We can see now, knee is down, ball is still in his hand. That's definitely not a fumble. But because it was possible, the official let it continue, because if he blew the whistle and replay showed that it was a fumble, Kentucky wouldn't get the ball because of the whistle. So the official did the right thing to let play continue.
Well, that takes us to the end of the 3rd quarter. We have to imagine that Louisville will still have the football when we come back to start the 4th.
It's not just good, it's Sonic good.
Set for the start of the 4th quarter, 45-21. Louisville leads Kentucky here on ESPN's College Football Primetime, and as expected, Colby Smith was ruled down by contact. The ball popped out a moment ago, but we were just notified by the officials that replay overturned the call on the field, and it will be Louisville's football to start off the 4th quarter. But guys, this is a glass half empty, glass half full type of theme tonight for Louisville. Obviously, they are leading tonight by a sizable margin and look to be on their way to an impressive victory, and they are the 13th ranked team in the country. But they also lost their franchise running back, Michael Bush, for the rest of the season with a broken leg.
I think that's a real difficult loss for them, and I think it will have an impact on their season. You're talking about an impact player, a guy who is likely a first-round pick without that injury, and you don't have his durability. You have replacements, but you know what you get from Michael Bush, and they're not going to have that the rest of the way, and I think they'll need that against West Virginia and Miami.
The replacements are good. They're fast, and in the case of Colby Smith, he's explosive, but neither one comes within 35 pounds of the weight, muscle weight of Bush, and they'll miss that on goal line situations.
To start the 4th quarter, it's back to the ground once again. Colby Smith tries to turn the corner and picks up a yard or so. But when you look ahead to what the rest of the season could be for Louisville, and really they have 2 big games on their schedule. They've got the Miami game and they've got the West Virginia game. Those are the dates that have been highlighted all season long, outside certainly of tonight's game against Kentucky.
Yes, but do not overlook USF. They have beaten Louisville the last 2 times.
4th down and 1, and the Cardinals will go for it. And they'll pick it up. Smith has a first down inside the 30, down to about the 27-yard line. Again, let's take one more look at what is still to come this season for Louisville.
Well, you see the Miami game is September 16th, and then West Virginia down here on November 2nd. And the thing you know about Michael Bush, you know that if you have him, he's going to show up later in the year. Now you have to wait and see if Colby Smith and George Stripling can handle the bumps and bruises and the durability over the season and be effective late in the year.
1st and 10, and one more thought of the schedule in just a moment. I'll see if you agree with me. Downfield, Arudia broken up at the goal line. It will be 2nd down and 10. You mentioned the USF game. The week before, or 2 weeks before, rather, is the West Virginia game, and sandwiched right in between is Rutgers. Now, I'm sure there are a lot of Big East fans outside of the New Jersey area that are saying, well, Rutgers certainly is a team that Louisville should beat, and they should. But to me, that's a classic trap game. If this team finds a way to beat West Virginia, and they look ahead an extra week to a team that beat them the year before, did you see what Rutgers did yesterday at North Carolina?
Forget about the trap. Rutgers under Greg Schiano has really turned it around.
Absolutely. 2nd down and 10. The toss sweep to Smith. Finds some running room. And he looks to have another 1st down. Very close to the marker.
Well, you see what Smith is able to do. And Stripling the same way, just a little smaller, a little faster. When you talk about durability, Rod, you've got 2 guys, fortunately. And when one is bruised, hopefully the other one will be able to carry the load. They will need that, though, because those 2 big games that you talked about, Miami and West Virginia, both here at Papa John's Cardinals Stadium, where for the last 2 years, Louisville has averaged 53 points a game here at home. And because of the nature of those 2 games, if Louisville can win those 2, they would put themselves in position to have the quality wins necessary that if they run the table, they would have an argument to be included in the top 2 in the BCS at the end of the year. Quality wins are very important.
Well, if you ask me right now today, I would say that things have changed in the Big East with the loss of Michael Bush. I think West Virginia was the favorite going in, but Louisville was equipped to handle them. But I think now, with Michael Bush out of the equation, I think West Virginia is much stronger, and Louisville is less of a threat in the Big East without Michael Bush. You're talking about a big-time player that you have to take out of that offense now, and I think I see the replacements. I think they're fine players, but you just don't replace spectacular players like that easy, plug somebody else in. It's not that easy.
Rod, that's a good point, and it will get harder. But here's why I like Louisville as of now in that West Virginia game. They're very evenly matched in a lot of ways, although with different styles. But when it comes down to it, as good as Pat White is and has been at quarterback, he's still a sophomore. He's still learning. He's not nearly as good as he's going to be. Brian Brom is about as good as he can possibly be in college football, and I think here in this stadium, the quarterback edge will need to go to Louisville, and that's why I like them in that game.
Do you guys feel as if Bobby Petrino, and by the way, the injured Kentucky Wildcat is Braxton Kelly, and it looks as if the training staff was working out a cramp, but look at the numbers tonight on Brom. I mean, as efficient as it gets. Do you feel, though, with the way that Bobby Petrino would probably like to run things, that he will have to come up with a pecking order between Smith and Stripling? Will it be literally a platoon, or will he have to come up with a number 1 and number 2 running back?
Now, he will use both backs. I think he will try to play to their strengths. You know that Stripling is a home run guy. He's got great speed. He's great on the edge. You know that Smith can catch the ball. You know that he can block. He's great in between the tackles. So I think Petrino will work to the strengths of both of those players. And the real question in my mind is just how durable they will be if they have to get more than 6 or 8 carries a game.
That will be an important question that we will see play out over the season. But keep in mind also that last year Petrino had his feed the studs concept where he had Bush and Lionel Gates and Eric Shelton that he had to find ways to get the ball to, kept those guys happy. He knows how to use multiple backs.
Kelly helped off to the Kentucky bench, and the platoon continues. Out comes Colby Smith, in comes George Stripling. And again, Stripling tonight with 2 touchdown runs. 3rd down and short. Instead, it's the up back, Brock Boland. And he looks to have the 1st down to about the 16-yard line.
You know, we talked about West Virginia and Louisville. I think there were some other observations from over the weekend that were worth noting. I mean, we've had a chance to watch a lot of games yesterday, and I think Tennessee certainly stood out as a program that is back. They looked phenomenal against California last night.
And how about the job that USC did on the road at Arkansas? I mean, these are the big numbers that you mentioned when we started tonight's broadcast, and certainly Brady Quinn got hit a lot but performed. Stripling hit at the line and dropped.
You know, you saw the 3 games that kind of caught my attention yesterday, and the Notre Dame caught my attention because of Brady Quinn getting hit. I think Notre Dame played great defense. I think all the ingredients are there for them to play well. But the concern for Notre Dame fans ought to be that Brady Quinn got knocked around so much. Tennessee, fantastic. The job for Colorado is tough now because the players aren't sure of what to buy into with Dan Hawkins since they lost their opening game.
Stripling bumped out inside the 15-yard line. We thought going into the Tennessee-Cal game, though, that there might be, to a certain extent, a changing of the guard in the Pac-10. I mean, there have been more than one prognosticator that picked Cal to win the Pac-10 and take over USC's mantle. Well, it still looked like USC and Cal yesterday. At least the pecking order stays intact. Colby Smith in as Brom pumps and sets up the screen to Smith. Dragged down at the 16-yard line by Micah Johnson.
Micah Johnson, a true freshman. Kentucky Mr. Football last year, but as a true freshman, that would not have happened, I think, if Michael Bush had been running back. Have a freshman hand grab him by the back of the jersey and drag him to the ground. That's one thing you do lose, not having Michael Bush.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I want to take you, Trevor, back to Bob's comment about USC, and I think clearly there's a big difference between USC and the rest of the Pac-10. You share that view?
I do.
32-yard field goal attempt for Art Carmody. And it is no good. He missed it left, and that is a rare miss for Carmody. So it remains a 24-point game with 11:24 remaining in the fourth quarter. Does Kentucky have one more gasp in them? We'll find out. A rare field goal miss for Art Carmody, and Louisville holding on to a 45-21 lead. Kentucky has the football back. 11:24 remaining. They have all of their timeouts.
Remember, the average scoring drive for Kentucky today is 40 seconds.
They have run half the number of plays that Louisville has run, and they are just about doubled up on the scoreboard. So obviously 36 plays to the 72 of the Cardinals. But Andre Woodson, who has not turned it over tonight, that was certainly the difference the last time these two teams met last year. And Raphael Little goes up the middle for a couple of yards. As we check our game track, brought to you by Hampton Inn. Michael Bush got off to a great start tonight. 3 touchdowns in the first half, but a broken leg sends him out for the rest of the season. Woodson has responded, and certainly responded on that play. 3 touchdown passes, 1 to Keenan Burton. Stripling off the bench for Bush with 2 touchdown runs here in the second half, averaging 10 yards per carry. And Woodson under pressure, trying to escape all the way back to the end zone. Throws it up the sideline and does well to get it near Keenan Burton.
You know, in order for that not to be a safety for intentional grounding, even though he was outside of the pocket, he had to throw that all the way across the line of scrimmage, and he just barely made it.
Yeah, and he had Keenan Burton coming back over to be in the area, which also helped him avoid a flag.
So now it's 3rd down and 8. 10:27 remaining in regulation time. Woodson spreads the field with 3 receivers. Just got the play off. Looking to set up the screen. And now has to tuck it under, and he will get dragged out of bounds. Michael Adams, a redshirt freshman, made the stop, and now Kentucky will have to punt it away.
Woodson's doing everything he can. Problem was, it was a middle screen, and the whole defense read it, and there was nowhere to go with the ball.
So once again, from deep in their own end, the Wildcats forced to give it up. Tim Mastay is back. And out near midfield is Patrick Carter. Carter fumbled the ball back late in the first half on a pass completion. And that was really the one turning point play where Louisville helped Kentucky get back in the game. Here he turns the corner, dodges the first tackler, and picks up some blocks. Couldn't quite stay on his feet, but gets it back into Kentucky territory as we head down to the sideline and check in with Tina Dixon.
Thanks, guys. Well, the motto for camp this year for the Cardinals was finish, and they took it so serious they put it on a t-shirt. Now, they did this because there were 2 games last season that they had the lead at the fourth quarter, lost the lead, and lost the game. So the idea of this t-shirt and finish what you started, finish the game, and keep that win.
Tina, thanks very much. And now they will have to finish without Michael Bush. Colby Smith empties the backfield. Brom. Tipped ball at the line, and it almost caromed to Micah Johnson.
Well, those 2 games Tina was talking about were pretty big. One was at West Virginia, which cost them a chance to play in a BCS game. And the other one was the Gator Bowl against Virginia Tech, where Tech scored 22 points in the fourth quarter to come back and win.
Well, there you see Bobby Petrino's record. He hasn't had big wins. 1-4 against top 15 teams. And he's beaten an Oregon State team, a Boise State team, but they've lost to the likes of Miami and Virginia Tech. So they got to beat somebody that's really, really big.
Smith stopped at the line. May have lost a yard. Really, the one that hurt was the West Virginia game, though, wasn't it? Because that was when their regular season hopes with Brom healthy still were in the mix. They had a 24-7 lead early in the fourth quarter and lost in triple overtime.
Well, you know, this program has really taken a huge lead the last 3 or 4 years. Facilities, you know, money, they're paying the coach and all that. They need the big win to really get the respect everywhere and to jump up into that top 10 and be considered a top 10 team.
3rd down and 11. 9:07 to play. Brom steps up in a well-formed pocket, has time, and a drop. Patrick Carter couldn't hold on to it. He was well shy of the first down to begin with. And now Louisville goes 3 downs and out, and they will be forced to punt.
I'll tell you what, though, that scared me, because a defensive lineman was coming in from behind Brian Brom and landed just shy of the back of his knees. I think it's time for Hunter Cantwell to get some meaningful minutes.
Yeah, I think you're right. You're getting close to that point where you need to take him out, Trevor. We might have 2 agreements this time.
Raphael Little calls for a fair catch and fields inside the 10-yard line at the 7. The next offensive possession for Louisville, we'll see if Cantwell comes on, but it will be Kentucky's football next. Rich Brooks has made a quarterback change with 8 minutes and 54 seconds to go. It's the sophomore Curtis Pulley that has now come on for Kentucky. We saw him a couple of different instances in as a receiver, but now Andre Woodson to the sideline, and Curtis Pulley will quarterback the Wildcats. Trailing 45-21, and certainly trailing here in terms of field position. Has the ball knocked away. It's a live ball. Recovered in the end zone for an apparent touchdown. Now Louisville is pouring it on. Zach Anderson comes up with the recovery and the score.
Well, this play will also be reviewed, as all plays are reviewed, and the key question is whether his arm was moving forward. Any movement forward makes it an incomplete pass.
Looks like a fumble, doesn't it?
That's a fumble.
Looks like that ball was coming up, not moving forward.
Looks like Zach Anderson got a hand on it. Number 96 coming around the corner right there.
Yeah, he never got a chance to pull the arm forward. That's not what you would call indisputable evidence, visual evidence, to overturn the call.
Now the officials are going, it seems, to review.
One thing that they do, though, that on a big play like this, even if they're pretty sure, even if they're very sure, for the sake of the fans, they'll pause play so the fans know that they have really reviewed it well.
Well, the other thing, too, I think that plays into a call like this and might play in a big way into calls the rest of the college football season is that phrase, indisputable video evidence. It means that the call that they make on the field initially becomes a very important precedent that's set, because now you have to have the video evidence to overturn it. So if a call is ruled to be a touchdown, an interception, a fumble, what have you, Well, you have to have clear-cut pictures that rule it otherwise. Any gray area, and they are almost forced to stick with the call on the field.
Yeah, and in this case, the rule reads that if there's any forward movement of the arm, the official must call it an incomplete pass. There was not forward movement, in my opinion, of that arm.
Now we see the referee with headsets on. He's not talking to the replay official upstairs. What he's doing is listening, because the replay official is told to talk his way through the review. In other words, okay, I see the quarterback with the ball in his hand. I see the defensive lineman hit the hand before it goes forward. And so because of that, the referee will know the thought process of the replay official.
Play stands as called on the field. Touchdown.
And as expected, it is a Louisville touchdown and a 30-point lead.
And that's the correct call. They got it right. They did that by the book. Right according to the rule. No forward arm movement. It's a fumble.
The extra point attempt is right down the middle from Art Carmody. It's now Louisville on top, 52-21. A reminder coming up next, right after we're finished here in Kentucky, it is SportsCenter. Stuart Scott and John Anderson are standing by. Steve Foley, a Chargers linebacker, has been shot. And Stuart and John will have all of the details, as well as no Ben Roethlisberger week 1 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Michael Irvin goes one-on-one with Bobby Bowden. All that coming up on SportsCenter after the game. And I'm not sure that, I think takes on Bobby Bowden might be a good way to put it. Should you allow, considering where Michael Irvin played, that he should be the one talking to Bobby Bowden? I don't know if Bobby Bowden wants to, after watching Michael Irvin do what he did to him during his career, have too many conversations.
There are not many situations where I would bet against Bobby Bowden. I don't care.
You think he can hold up his own end of the conversation?
Yep, he'll be A-okay.
If Michael Irvin is about 3 inches shorter and wears one pant size smaller, you'll know what happened.
It looks as if, based on Trevor Matich's suggestion, I'm not sure if you somehow got word to Bobby Petrino, Trevor, but yes, Hunter Cantwell is warming up on the sideline. It looks as if he's going to come on, and Brian Brom will be done for the night for Louisville.
Now let's not give Trevor too much credit, because he requested that change in the second quarter.
Well, late in the second quarter, when it was 31-0.
Burton out across the 10. Gets loose at the 30. Breaking tackles. Still on his feet. No flags. Keenan Burton goes the distance. Touchdown.
Rich Brooks said that this was his most talented Kentucky team, even though it's very young. And we've seen that talent flash. And if Keenan Burton can stay healthy all season, which he was not able to do last year, look at some of the possibilities.
This man has really had an outstanding ball game. He's made plays from the wide receiver position. He's been close on a couple of returns, and he finally broke that one. And he did a lot of that on his own, busting a couple of tackles.
A flag came out, and it seemed to be
after the touchdown
celebration.
On sportsmanlike conduct, number 19 on Kentucky. The touchdown is good.
So Keenan Burton picks up a flag, and he seems somewhat dumbfounded on the sideline, having a conversation with Rich Brooks. I'm not sure if he understands exactly what he did to draw the flag.
On the kickoff.
So the penalty will be assessed on the kickoff, but for the time being.
Yeah, you may have seen Keenan Burton talking to Rich Brooks over there, saying, I don't know what I did wrong. I think he was flagged because he took his helmet off.
Well, unless a bat flew into his ear hole, there's no excuse for that.
J.J. Housley.
Has that ever happened to you? A bat flying into the ear hole?
The extra point is good with 8:11 remaining. So the score continues to pile up. And when we return, we'll show you exactly what Keenan Burton did to pick up that flag. But a 100-yard touchdown return. Another highlight for Kentucky. Well, in what very well might be a losing cause, it's been an unbelievable night for Keenan Burton. He now has 2 touchdowns. 4 catches for 127 yards, 5 kick returns for 185 yards, 312 total yards and 2 touchdowns on 9 touches. And those are his return yards. Put it together with his receiving yards. It's been a heck of a night. Council and Spencer back deep to receive. This will be Council. And he gets it out to the 33-yard line. Again, a 15-yard penalty called against Keenan Burton for unsportsmanlike conduct after the touchdown, as we take another look at the return.
Yeah, a great return. Watch him make a couple of guys miss, run through an arm tackle, another couple of arm tackles there, and then he's just off to the races.
Now, he will get taunted by one of the yell leaders of Louisville here in the back of the end zone. You see the guy with the wristbands? Now look at the tee he's making. I don't even know what that means.
So was that what he was flagged for, or was it because he took the helmet off before he left the field?
The flag threw while the players were in the end zone. So maybe it was for that small hand gesture. I'm not sure. Hunter Cantwell now on at quarterback. Swings one to Colby Smith. So Hunter Cantwell is 1 for 1 for 13 yards. Of course, he came on last season and closed the year with 2 starts, including the Gator Bowl against Virginia Tech, the loss to Virginia Tech. He's appeared in 8 games and started 2 games in Brom's place last year.
And he showed a lot of courage in that loss to Virginia Tech. Took some terrible hits, kept getting back up. Had over 200 requests in his internet box to be added to his friends list after that, including from an actress on a TV show that's running now that was very impressed.
Are you not going to give us a name?
I don't know the name. I know the show.
Okay, give us something.
Coming up next, Sports Center. Standing by, John Anderson and Stuart Scott. And once again, big yardage for Colby Smith. Plenty good enough for a first down inside the 40-yard line of Kentucky. Wesley Woodyard, who has been busy tonight, made the tackle. And don't think for a second that Louisville does not want to score at least one more touchdown.
Well, there's no reason in the world to hold Hunter Cantwell back, because his actress from a show called, the initials are Laguna Beach. That's as reported by the Courier-Journal here in Louisville. So
those aren't initials.
That's where I got that. But, you know, why should Hunter Cantwell just hand off the ball? Let's let him get some work in here.
Aren't a lot of ugly people on Laguna Beach. Not sure if you've caught it. Down to the ground and to the outside. A nice run for Anthony Allen. And he comes close to a first down.
Well, Trevor, to your point about Hunter Cantwell, I don't think he ought to be throwing the ball in this situation. He's not a rookie quarterback who hasn't been on the field. He doesn't need the work for something like that. I think you're up by 24 points. You run the clock, you run the game, you get out, and you go home. No need to throw the ball or rub it in, but it's a rivalry game, and Petrino, I'm sure, wants some more points.
Although right now he is doing this with some of his backups as Anthony Allen stays in the game. Freshman from Tampa, Florida. And again, Allen to the outside. Running hard. Picks up about 5 yards with 6:26 remaining. And there is the Governor's Cup. It is being brought out and is being put certainly close to the Louisville sideline. And we are told that the Governor's Cup is roughly the size of our sideline reporter, Tina Dixon. Weighs 110 pounds, 33 inches tall, though I think Tina's slightly taller.
Oh, she's taller than that. Come on.
So what you're saying is the Governor's Cup is denser than Tina.
I didn't come even close to saying that.
Well,
as Allen gets stopped short of a first down. It took 9 days to put it together. And it is worth $23,000.
That is a beautiful, beautiful trophy.
Made of black marble, crystal, 24-karat gold, and pewter. And I don't know if they're going to carry it around like the Stanley Cup after the game's over, but it's good weight training. It weighs 110 pounds.
Hey, Louisville's had it for the last several years.
And it will remain here in Louisville. This senior class at Louisville about to tack on their 4th consecutive win over the Wildcats. And again, running hard. Up the middle goes Anthony Allen. Inside the 10-yard line. It's 1st and goal. The 31st first down tonight for the Cardinals.
Well, the only thing that's gone wrong for Louisville tonight is obviously the loss of Michael Bush. that broken leg, which will keep him out the entire season after coming back for his senior season and what he had hoped would be a run at the Heisman Trophy.
Again, Allen, the freshman, looking for his first career touchdown, stopped at the 5-yard line, but the last run prior to that carry by Anthony Allen put Louisville over 600 yards of total offense in tonight's game. And more than half of that has come on the ground. 351 yards on the ground. That's amazing.
It's unbelievable.
You know, though, I mean, Louisville has done it against an improved Kentucky team. I mean, they've made Kentucky look pretty bad today on defense especially, but this is a better Kentucky team than it has been for the last couple of years.
Allen stopped at the 4 with 4.5 minutes remaining.
Well, the run defense isn't better. You can't say the run defense is better when they give up 350 yards, but I do think you're right that the overall team is better. They certainly are making more plays, and I was impressed in the first half when they got down by 28 points and they did not cave in. They hung in there. They got back in the ball game. They had a chance starting the third quarter to get back in and win this ball game. They did not quit in the first half.
Third down and goal. Again, an eye set with Allen, the tailback. Cantwell the give for Allen. He has a lane to the goal line. In for the touchdown. 3 different players tonight have scored a rushing touchdown for Louisville. And that's the first career touchdown for the freshman Anthony Allen. And that will certainly more than put this one away for the Cardinals.
Well, they averaged over the last 2 years 53 points a game in this building.
Some of their scoring numbers under Bobby Petrino are amazing. And tonight, another night where they are now a point shy of 60 with 59 points on the board. And as we take a look at the AP Top 10, as things are currently constituted, with Louisville just on the outside, knocking in at 13. Certainly Cal will drop based on their loss to Tennessee. And if Louisville keeps playing as well as they played tonight, it won't be long before we see them up there in the middle of that mix.
Yeah, but how about those numbers 1 and 3? We'll have that big game next week, Ohio State and Texas. That's going to be pretty good.
And what also is pretty good is this game tonight for Louisville will put the Big East at 7-1 against non-conference opponents this opening weekend. The SEC will drop to 7-3 against non-conference opponents. The Big Ten went 11-0, undefeated. And I'm sure there's probably some that might be saying, how could the Big Ten go 11-0? Obviously, adding an extra team not that long ago.
Penn State.
So, well, you've got, the math doesn't quite match up, but the Big Ten is still the Big Ten, and they were perfect over the weekend.
Quarterback Anthony Morelli of Penn State had a terrific opening weekend. 3 touchdown passes, no interceptions at Akron, and that's a tough job to take over for Michael Robinson at Penn State.
Let me ask you this. Do you think Kentucky is a potential bowl team this year?
I don't know yet. That's going to sound weird, but I don't know yet.
Taking it on the run and getting it out to about the 20-yard line is Dickie Lyons with 3:44 remaining.
Because, Rod, when you look at Kentucky's schedule, there are 6 wins in there. You know, at Louisville, that's tough. You know, they play at Florida, at LSU. They're not going to win those games anyway. The winnable games are there, though, to get to 6, and they have shown some flashes tonight.
Well, I think a lot of folks overlook the job that Rich Brooks has done coming in with 68 scholarship players following the Hal Mumme era and the NCAA violations. And there's a quick hook typically to turn a program around, and it's hard to do it in 3 or 4 years.
Again, Curtis Pulliam at quarterback. He fumbled and lost the ball in the end zone. That went for a touchdown for Louisville. He scampers up the sideline for 5 yards. But talking to Rich Brooks this past week, he made the point, of course, he has done this before. He went to Oregon, and he turned that program around. And asking him why Kentucky, he said Kentucky is so far and away further along in their development than it was at Oregon. I really felt like I could come here and turn this thing around.
And Rich Brooks got there in the second year of this scholarship diminution on the NCAA sanction. So when you look at those minimal scholarships, you can't have any depth, and recruits don't want to come there. Well, and yet still they've had one of their best recruiting years in years this last year.
Pulley rolls the pocket to the near side, finds David Jones. And Jones is close to a first down. Let's check in, though, on our Cooper Tires Players of the Game tonight. Brought to you by Cooper Tires. And it is the two great friends, Keenan Burton and Michael Bush. This, of course, is bittersweet for Michael Bush. Having broken his leg, he's gone for the season.
You know, they became great friends when they were 7 years old. The first team they played together on, an all-star Little League baseball team. Keenan Burton led off, hit a home run. His rival from Little League football, Michael Bush, batted next, hit a home run. They both looked at each other and said, I think we're going to be together for a while.
1st and 10. Pulley drops one off to Dixon, breaks a tackle in the backfield, keeps the play alive, and pays the price as he gets back a bit shy of the line of scrimmage. But again, we flash back to what was a great start to the night for Michael Bush, but it would end in nightmarish fashion.
Yeah, started with a great shifty move, getting himself into the end zone. Burton matches his performance later with a touchdown catch, and then this 100-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. But a very bittersweet night for the two of them as Bush left with a broken leg, and Burton came over to greet his buddy and tell him, I'll talk to you later and take care.
3 minutes remaining. Pulley looking downfield, using his mobility, and gets dragged down back at the 30-yard line. That's a pretty play made by Terrence Butler. It'll be 3rd down and long.
Well, Pulley is one of those great players in the last couple of recruiting classes that has Rich Brooks excited about the future. And I think this will be a better team, even though their record might not be a whole lot better until some of these guys get some more playing experience, because they do have some talent now that the scholarships are no longer restricted.
Last season, Kentucky was so injury-plagued. 17 different players missing a total of 80 games. And they were not just part-time performers, they were full-time performers that were constantly injured for this team. Lamar Mills, Tony Dixon, Marcus McClinton, Keenan Burton, and DeMario Ford, Braxton Kelly, Fatu Turi, who's looked upon as their best overall offensive lineman. I mean, 31 surgeries. How does any team overcome that, no matter how talent-laden you might be?
Well, you can't have enough depth to handle that. If you have key players missing that many games and significant injuries that require surgery, you're playing with guys who have little experience, and you're going into your third-line guys or guys you want a redshirt, and it's hard to hold up in an SEC season like that.
And that's during a time when the NCAA is restricting scholarships. Makes it hard to overcome. But Rich Brooks is doing a good job of assembling talent and getting it onto the right track. The thing is, though, these guys are still very, very young, and I think he deserves the opportunity to see this recruiting class into its junior and senior year to see what he's actually done in this turnaround.
Again, a reminder on every platform possible. Tomorrow night, we will be bringing you the Canes and the Knowles, presented by Dish Network. It's ESPN Full Circle, Monday at 8 Eastern. It's the game on ESPN. Then as we see it in the truck, all the angles on ESPNU, ESPN 360, Skycam, plus commentary from Colin Cowherd. Should be a heck of a game, and no matter where you turn on the ESPN family of networks, you will see Florida State and Miami tomorrow night at 8.
And you can see it on your mobile ESPN phone if you have one. I was watching in the airport the Cal-Tennessee game on my phone. It was amazing because they had a different game up that I wasn't interested in. I wanted to see that Cal-Tennessee game, and lo and behold, it was up on mobile ESPN.
Tim Mastay set to punt. And Anthony Allen, the freshman running back who scored a touchdown a moment ago, is back deep to receive with 2 minutes to play. So all that really remains now for Louisville is to field this punt, take a knee, and call it a night. Allen calls for a fair catch and fields at his own 29-yard line. So Louisville will start off the season with a win at 1-0. Kentucky will fall to 0-1. And again, this was a game that you sensed coming into it for the entire Louisville program that they wanted to send a message, because they spent the last 12 months or so hearing how close Kentucky came last season. The fumble at the end of the game was all that separated Kentucky from the Governor's Cup. But of course, that's not, if you're a Louisville fan, what you wanted to hear. And 87 points tonight, including 59 by the Cardinals, certainly sends a message. The inside handoff rolls the clock.
And I'm sure Bobby Petrino is pleased with the win, but it's tough. It's tough when you get the win, but you lose such a great player in Michael Bush, and he has to be concerned about that and how they'll make that turn around for them this season, if they can turn it around with his loss.
It'll change play call. They'll use a lot more quick passes out to the backs, and in short yardage and goal line, they won't have that bludgeoning presence. It'll change play calling there as well.
Again, though, something we talked about earlier, and it probably bears repeating considering the fact that Bush is now injured, as Allen goes for a yard or two, that you both seem very impressed with just the overall scheme that Louisville runs itself. As if, granted, Michael Bush is a great talent, but you can plug other players in and still have a chance.
Well, I think there's something to that, but this scheme also really works because Brian Brom is a great quarterback. I mean, he can be plugged into almost any scheme, and he's going to do well. And having him here, if you don't have Michael Bush, having him here still gives Louisville a shot.
The final play of the game as Cantwell brings his team to the line. And the crowd that remains here at Papa John's Cardinal Stadium on their feet for Louisville as they will close out a 59-28 win over Kentucky. So that is your final. Kentucky comes into Louisville and loses to the Cardinals 59-28. And Bobby Petrino's crew takes on the Governor's Cup once again, as it stays for all 4 years of the current Louisville Cardinal senior class. For Trevor Manich, Rod Gilmore, and Tina Dixon, I'm Bob Wischusen. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. So long from Louisville. Thanks so much for joining us. And now John Anderson and Stuart Scott with SportsCenter.